can't really take objectives with that Bursa plus Storm, but they'll get Pasha's Brewmaster first, so save Ramses for last. They must feel like, yeah, they need this brew, and there's a couple different heroes they can pick for Ramses.
They needed to bring something in together to give them team fight, because right now, fighting versus LGD looked really difficult, just because the timing that ends up happening. You're versus Darkseer, you're versus Sanking. This Darkseer is going to have faster item timing than you right now. He's going to have a Dominator super early in the game and start pressuring you, so you need somebody to respond. Bruce Darkseer is going to have faster.
One of the only teams that still run in Troll Warlord. That's a little bit of damage, huh? Or do they have enough control to make sure that Troll can't ball out of control? One of the only teams that still run in Troll Warlord. That's a little bit of damage.
I don't know. Darkseer Sanking just they put so much pressure on lane.
Yeah, I mean Troll at least is a slightly stronger laner than some others, but
I don't know. Darkseer Sanking just they put so much pressure on lane. At least he can. The thing is, at least he can go range for him, and then he doesn't have to worry so much in the lane a bit. But
there's always the possibility you send the Brewmaster that lane. You want to send your carry plus Abaddon to the off lane and play against Grimstroke plus whoever else is going there. That lane.
I mean, the Tower Blade is likely just because it's the VP hero, but I don't think LGD is afraid of that at all. I mean, they would have banned it if they were. They banned the Lycan because they're like, who can sustain in the lane? Who can give them the objective pick? Who can kind of run us over? And it could be the Lycan with the book, but afraid of that at all. I mean, they would have banned it if they were. They banned the Lycan because they're like, who can sustain?
One of the hero Ramses does like to play it. Hasn't seen much of his PL against Medusa.
Ooh.
I don't know if it matchup can kind of go both ways, but it does give you one way to at least burn through her mana pool against Medusa.
Ooh.
It's just all the heroes I'm thinking of is like Darkseer. The wall is just really good versus well. It's like your TBs, your PLs. That wall in the later stages of the game is also super powerful. It's just all the heroes I'm thinking of is like Darkseer. The kind of tends to be the case. Really good versus most carry heroes. TBs, your PLs. That wall in the later stages of the game is also.
So we're on to our last ban here. Or last pick, excuse me.
Could even just be a jug game. Got Healing Word for the sustain in lane. You can go Manta Diffusal if you want. You've got Blade Fury against some of the magic damage as well.
Kind of like that pick, you know. You make sure that you don't get comboed up.
It's not a pick you feel good about. It's just like, well, it's it's an okay jug damage. That's often how jug picks go.
You know, you make sure that you don't get comboed up.
It's not a pick you feel good about. It's just
particularly sure on the Terrorblade. I don't know how he would be able to survive in this one. They just got a lot of ways to jump on him.
And so much magic damage. They have Sand King, Grim, Medusa Snake, the Ion Shell ticking.
You know who has not been banned out is Naga Siren.
King, Grim, Medusa Snake.
Yeah, Naga is a similar idea, I think, to the PL, where you've got this Manta Diffusal buyer. You can typically get some farm, you can fall back to the jungle. But in a team fight, there's all this magic damage. You're not a BKB builder.
But you might be able to break up a little bit of that wombo combo potential that we have from Darkseer.
They are running low on time.
That suggests they're a little bit stuck.
Might be able to break up a little bit of that wombo Spectre.
So this is for some super late game.
Well, sometimes. At the same time, we have seen Spectres with Virtus Pro be very aggressive, get in on the early game.
There was a period of time where I saw quite a few teams playing Spectre against these Darkseer lanes that would wave cut, because you hit creeps onto your tower, you have your Stout Quelling Blade, you're guaranteed to get some level of farm where you're not pressured too much.
We've seen they do like the Soul Ring, right? He was the one who first started doing it, I believe, at the major, at Dream League major.
On Spectre.
Yeah, he was doing the Soul Ring on Spectre, and he would always be able to at least like get last hits with Dagger, and he'd be able to at least avoid the ganks, like with Dagger and then run into trees, so you don't just feed. But yeah, he was doing the Soul Ring on Spectre, and he would always be able to at least like. This at least gives you like vision of the backline. That's always like the nice thing about having Spectre. Which
hello. Who was that hero?
They have Sven Darkseer. You asked for Wombo combo. That is the combo.
Yeah, this is great. Nice vacuum into a Sven stun, into a Sand King stun, some links up as well, single target stun.
So they've got the Brew Dispel for the Warcry, which is pretty good for VP, but we were talking about damage issues a little bit for VP, and I think that Sven actually made it even harder for them. Which is pretty good.
So, gentlemen, I need some hard predictions, boys. Oh, look at LGD fans out there. They think they know who won for sure.
I'm siding with those fans that I saw right there. I'm really liking what LGD's got. I like this Grimstroke. I think they've got cool combos. They've got a lot of ways to work with double stuns with the Grimstroke, double snakes. Yeah, I'm liking the potential of LGD's lineup.
God's given it to me straight. Take the time.
Got a lot of ways to work with double stuns.
Me and Fog, we always seem to agree on panel.
Oh my God.
Foggy last time I was like, oh, Fog and panel, we're just going to agree on stuff.
We're making a rule right here and now. These two are always buddy-buddy. No longer. I'm going to make them argue. But but there's no argument here. It looks like LGD has a strong draft. Our panelists think that's the way, but will it turn out that way? Let's check in with Gods and Cap. Oh, it looks like Cap and Blitz, not Gods and Cap. Don't Gods stay real. But will it turn out that way? Let's check in with Gods and Cap. Oh, it looks like Cap.
That's twice now, Slacks. 3 times. You're out of the host role. Welcome, everybody. It's MDL Day 2. Let's get into LGD. First 3 times. You're out of the host role. Blitz, what do you think about it? Welcome, everybody. It's MDL Day 2.
I'm not sure. I have to consider the lineups a little bit more because I think it is like a really cool Storm pick, and the way that they set it up, I think, is very interesting too.
I'm not sure.
I have to consider the lineups a little bit more because I think it is like a really cool Storm pick, and the way that they set it up, I think, is very interesting.
Game 1. LGD.
I can't believe we're seeing these 2 teams in the lower bracket, an elimination match already. LGD versus Virtus Pro. VP, of course, the team that has dominated DPC systems, but has always fallen a bit short when it comes to TI. LGD, VP, of course, the TI finalist previously, had a little bit rougher time this season, and we saw it. Their loss to Vici Gaming in the groups, their loss to Secret as well. It looks like LGD just isn't quite up there at the top, tippy top, but they are still a very strong team, and I expect this match to be rather explosive.
Yeah, especially because of the way that the core matchups go. I think we have some of the best 1 and 2 positions in the game right now. I think that Ramses and No One pack like some of the strongest punches. They're dynamic. They're playmakers. They're not they're not your active they're not your passive. I'm gonna farm 50 minutes and do nothing. Especially Ramses as a team. That's just how VP likes to play. Even with this Spectre, I fully expect them to play around this ulti repeatedly. Especially Ramses is
throwing out the dagger. Roger's going to join him here, but so is X-Nova, and that Inkswell is going to be tough to beat, especially with a Burrow Strike. That's why VP are not even going to try for it. So LGD going to be able to get 3 bounty runes at the start of the game.
Yeah, and I think it's because they think that Sven will be fine in the early levels against this Master, if not outright win. So it seems like for the time being, they're like, well, we don't really need to rotate our supports too hard. I imagine the Grimstroke does eventually TP down here.
Yeah. Like maybe he sticks up Bidu just purely for like a first blood attempt or something.
I imagine
and that may be exactly what we're going to see here is no, I'm not going to go for him. The Mistcoil is going to help keep Roger healthy as he battles it out with FY. They're just keeping a full aggro tri lane. Most of the time we see like these Darkseers just do a dual lane and cut, but he battles it out with FY. Not here.
I do think it's much more important for VP to win their lane with the way that their heroes are set up, because I think they have this really strong mid-game timing that they want to hit. And FY getting really low. That range on Burrow Strike isn't long.
Roger is going to be able to keep pace here. They do manage to cancel the healing salve, and that'll be Solo picking up the first blood.
Really low. That range on Burrow Strike isn't long. He has to be more careful than that. Everybody always forgets how bad Burrow Strike level 1 is as an escape ability. You barely go forward because there's the moment where you stop as well, right? You have to take the time. It's like you didn't really move anywhere as an escape ability.
And these are also probably 2 of the best level 1 nukes in the game. Mistcoil as well as Ether Shock.
It's like when we see Chalice. I don't think that he can stand in this tri-lane normally, and he's trying to hit his level 2 so that he's okay. He's just going to go for the TP out, double stack the wave. Very smart of him. And
actually, long TP.
I think they could have committed for that.
I think maybe they could have, yeah.
Solo had mana, 1 more Mistcoil and 2 right clicks is a kill. But I think they should have. I don't think they anticipated how long that TP was going to be.
Certainly not.
And we do see X-Nova after the kill come down here, which is what we expected. I don't think he definitely doesn't want to just hit a top lane.
Certainly not.
And we do see X-Nova after I think VP has shown that they're going to go for the tri-lane because they figure they have to win the lanes. He definitely doesn't want to.
Roger's also got to be careful here. Does manage to get away from the Ion Shell.
VP has shown that they're going to go for the tri-lane because they figure they have to win the lanes.
They seem pretty low to try and get any sort of kill out of this Burrow Strike Ion Shell combo, and perhaps that's just because Abaddon's Mistcoil is just that strong. They seem pretty low to try
and I will say this is a very interesting matchup in mid lane because of the skill of both mid laners, but also because Storm really struggles, I think, against DOTA. I mean, DOTA just feels fantastic against all int cores mid.
Yeah.
Because of the way that when you take away mana from them int heroes, again, just kind of feel bad. I mean, DOTA just feels fantastic. Can't really play as aggressive, and Storm is probably the hero that relies on mana the most to CS with. Against heroes with better base damage or better attack animations, which pretty much like narrows the pull to everybody.
Still trying to pull the creeps over to this hard camp here. Burrow strike on through. FY does manage to secure the bigger creep, but now I think he's just dead for it. Maybe he can go for that other small one, but he'll die pretty quickly to Roger. So FY, another mistake by him is I'm pretty sure there's no way that one hard camp creep was worth it. Now, Child's going to be taking a lot of damage on his way out to the dagger. Won't finish him off here. But it is definitely close. Now Solo actually gets a little bit too close.
They're still chasing for it.
And Roger is really gunning for it. He does have another round of level 1 Ether Shock up. Chalice is popped the surge, trying to get away. A full healing salve out. Now Roger actually gotten himself into a bit of a hole. Good silence out. Inkswell follow up. This is a classic Grimstroke combo. Any sort of stun plus Inkswell is going to look good. And sure enough, Solo, who took so much damage from the tower earlier, will just deny himself and reset.
Good timing on this kill too, because he's going to miss out on a lot of experience. I think he missed out on like 3 creeps there, which as an offlaner, it sucks to die under the tower, just because you know that you've actively hurt for it even more. But still getting levels, and I think that's okay for the Brew. It sucks to die under the tower. I think VP realizes that even moving Roger down towards that bottom lane, as the fellow 4-position players kind of exchange greetings in the middle of the game, and mid lane is staunchly in favor of this Storm, by the way. Fellow 4-position players.
Yeah, so this is not supposed to go this way?
I don't think it's... I think it should be fine for both, but I don't think it should go this strongly for the Storm.
Yeah.
Like, Storm's already up to 27 and 10. I don't think it's... Which, if I'm the DOTA, you always have the option of being able to nuke into the wave, because Storm is more or less a melee hero.
Right. Burrow strike out, Sandstorm's available as well, but there is the Aphotic Shield and Mist Coils if necessary.
No, FI shouldn't go for this again.
They are going to be able to get the Inkswell on top of Solo, getting the silence towards the end there. See if they can actually stop him from denying it. Unable to do so, but he wasn't able to get off the Mist Coil, and that's the important part.
The turn rate on Yaban hurt him there real bad. Everybody from LGD was facing to the left, he was facing to his right. So when he did eventually kill the Phantom's Embrace, he had to manually turn all the way around.
Another 3 bounty runes for LGD. You can see they've gotten 1,150 gold.
Wait, why does it say 6-1 on me?
Bounty runes for LGD. You can see. That is a good question. Did somebody deny one? 1,100.
We see 3 go on the side of LGD and 1 was missing. I saw illusions from a hero, so maybe somebody denied.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that's what happened.
Gotta be the case.
I saw illusions from
oh, Roger's gonna make the rotation over here to the Sven, but that Warcry shield is gonna do a lot to slow down the damage coming out from Pasha. Ame actually turning around there. Meanwhile, the top lane Spectre's barely able to TP away. Really great play though, reading that the Inkswell, as soon as that Inkswell goes down, you can TP out. It just will not explode fast enough. So he goes over. I thought he went over to the shrine, but maybe they already used it. So he's just gonna come back with the Mist Coil being given to him.
He TP'd to the shrine. They used it earlier, him and Roger.
Oh, okay.
I like that though. I hate when safe laners just like panic TP straight back to base.
Yeah.
Especially when they know they're going to be healthy enough to come back from the lane. Like, Ramsey's probably got an additional 4 or 5 CS out of this as a result of Roger setting up.
Trying to go for no one here because no one does have a double damage in his bottle, but there is going to be the TP in from the Sand King, but it's such a long TP because X-Nova also jumped in. They do manage to get the Burrow Strike. The follow-up silence is going to come out from X-Nova now, but the double damage is doing so much work that FY does end up falling here. He even kills the...
No one's going to go for this. No one's going to go for this.
Of course, Roger's going to get the shackles if he can. No one will get the double kill, and he'll get out too. Putting a lot of pressure on this tier 1 tower too because the Siege Wagon is coming in. This is just a great setup for VP.
You knew that was coming in. The DOTA was so cocky, but he still had 2 bottle charges and he is a DD. Any Storm player with anything is going to go for that play. Like, you all in for that because at some point you just can't kill the DOTA as a Storm. We see here, still has 2 bottle charges and a clarity.
I think one of the big problems is X-Nova can only cast 2 of his 3 spells, and they're all level 1 obviously, so none of them really do any good damage. If he'd been able to get maybe the Inkswell as well, with that extra bit of damage and stun, maybe it would have been a better go on the Storm Spirit, but as it was.
Also, Sand King has terrible armor, right?
Yeah.
Especially early levels, like that's why he struggled so hard in this top lane against the Shaman who's got fantastic base damage. He just can't fight up against that hero, even with Ion Shell. That's the annoying part. It's sort of like the clockwork conundrum that you have. But Sand King eventually makes up for it because he has Sandstorm, and he has his own escape mechanism. But when you go offensive like that and you're only like level 3, Storm's going to kill you just through right clicks like we saw. And he has his own escape mechanism.
Shackles.
He wants no one to commit.
In from no one. No one is definitely going to commit here. Make sure he kills X-Nova. Oh, they've managed to get the stun first, but still. 2 to 5 now. VP continuing their killing spree now for no one. And the Spectre is getting a good amount of farm top lane. Of course, our Sven hasn't really come into action yet, and it looks like he's going to soon, as Ame is rotating into this offlane jungle. Not sure where he's headed, though.
As they're going to go on top momentarily, but Ramses should be perfectly fine. There's something I want to point out about Storm. I mean, he was the second pick Storm, so this is supposed to be the hero that I think should be most counterable. And PSG LGD's response was the Grimstroke, right? Because of the Phantom's Embrace. But I think the Grimstroke's only effective when you have burst damage, so that you can kill the Storm. Because Storm's naturally going to build for attack speed, as they are going to make the go on Ramses.
This is the rotation that we needed from Ame, but unfortunately Ramses is so tanky thanks to that Soul Ring build. Now he's going to pop out his ultimate. No one's going to make the long jump thanks to that vision. Everyone's still decently healthy. They're going to try and go onto this vent here. He does have the Inkswell on him. Explodes on top of full solo and the Storm Spirit. Boosted up by the Surge, and no one doesn't have enough mana to be able to catch anybody there. Meanwhile, FY being chased by Roger right now, but he does have the Medusa somewhere nearby, and should be fine. A lot of pressure on that mid tower coming out from Medusa that entire time.
I think the way that LGD have to win this game is for it to go later. Like, I think these mid-game fights will not favor them because of the reasons mentioned. Like, you see the Storm get silenced up, but it doesn't actually kill him. Like, I think Storm will eventually get the HP talents for the extra 400. I think this game. Then you're suddenly having to burst down the Storm from 1600 health with a wand and bottle charges. That's not easy. And Sven and Dusa don't really burst without having items. Like the Sven, once he gets 4 items and a Daedalus, yeah, he's gonna be fine. He's gonna shot the Storm with that. But Storm even has decent armor without having items. So I think that PSG LGD thought that this silence was going to be enough, but I don't actually think that it bothers him that badly. So I think that PSG LGD
3 bounty runes for VP. You know, the panel brought up the really cool interaction of the Soul Pine plus Mystic Snake against Storm Spirit. What are your 3 bounty runes?
I think it's interesting, but I still hold to my reasoning that the way that this game goes is there's always 2 ways to deal with Storm. Either you draft overwhelming amounts of stun and burst, or you just make it so that everyone's unkillable. And PSG LGD's lineup is actually quite good at that. Darkseer, Medusa, and Sven with items are very hard to kill, and you can just create this wall where you all run together and you never let him assail the backline. That's how really good teams deal with Storm. You just protect your 2 supports by having them move as a group. And as long as the enemy team doesn't have any crazy AoE that you're worried about, you're fine. There's no Sand King and Darkseer on the other team. You don't have to worry about this big epicenter vacuum coming in with the wall over the top. So I think it's easy for PSG LGD to group up as a unit, move down 5 into lanes, and feel really comfortable with that. And then use the Sand King as counter initiation. So you move together as 4, Sand King's hiding in the backline. When you get jumped on, Sand King pops his ulti, and that's the way their lineup is theoretically supposed to look. Whereas Virtus Pro should just take fights all the time.
VP is sure enough. They are going to be able to take a fight right here, get the pick off on FY. Is going to get stunned up here. Maybe they can't actually chain the stuns. The silence going to last a while. No one. He could have gotten away from that, but now Roger's going to die as well. A little bit of hubris, perhaps, as no one held on to his mana there and pays the ultimate price. A little bit of hubris, perhaps, as no one held on to his mana there.
This is where the Dusa just, even though you killed her early on, she farms.
Yeah.
She's fine. Like, every Dusa player knows that whatever your laning phase, as long as it breaks like 60-40, you're going to hit up the triangle of farm, you're going to hit ancients, you'll have more levels in your split shot. You just naturally will out farm every other mid laner. Aside from like maybe Dro, who has her own way of hitting ancients. And this is exactly what PSG LGD wants to do. They want to move as a unit, get their 3 cores farmed, then become this like impassable wall. So the Storm Spirit doesn't feel comfortable going in. And then you use the Grimstroke's Phantom's Embrace and the Sand King's stun as these counter initiations. the Storm series doesn't feel comfortable.
They do manage to trade out towers here. Feels like a lot of what you're talking about. Pasha's going to be particularly important, both for the team fight aspect and even just reducing the tankiness of LGD. Going to need that dispel against the Warcry, and that's part of the reason we saw it picked up. Ramses not going to be hit by the stroke of fate, so going to need that dispel against the Warcry. Easily fine here. He got out of the top lane initially because of that big push, but now he returns to farm up. VP, with their push onto bottom lane, they're going to rotate into mid and see if they can take that tower with the Serpent Wards. And the positioning there of Roger into the back line. Ame finds Solo. Solo, who's not level 6 yet, has to be a bit careful with his positioning. Going to play pretty far back. Does not want to be gone on first. This tower taking a lot of damage, but it looks like it will survive. VP not going to fully commit here. FY is going to be able to find Roger as he dips into the high ground here, hoping to be able to body block him long enough for Ame to be able to get the stun. And now Roger realizes that he's probably just dead. Solo realizes it too. He says, see you later, buddy. Can't save you here. So it's going to be 5 to 6 eventually.
They're going to get him.
Hey, Roger's buying a lot of time. This is worth it.
Yeah, his Spectre's going to push out the lane, farm some jungle. But nice snap by PSG LGD. I think Storm in this game, though, was very strong during this timing, and that's why Vici wanted to take fights like crazy.
Yeah.
Because every Storm player knows, like, at some point the juice is going to be I think Storm in this game, though, was very strong.
And that's where that slip-up of no one is so costly, right? Like, this is their core timing that they really need to establish dominance on the map, and him dying and just being out of the game for 30 seconds slows down that momentum.
I think they're thinking, though, that the Spectre will be the best hero. Like the ultra late.
Yeah.
So I actually think that both lineups are quite even. If you think about like the strengths and weaknesses, there are like ways to shore up both sides. Like for PSG LGD, although right now, like in the mid game or like the first like 10 minutes of the game, it was annoying. There are like ways to shore up. As the game progresses, things get better. But it also sucks playing both supports because you want to play the Sand King as his counter initiator, but Spectre will always find him with the hunt. Like both lineups have done a very good job of like countering each other. There's no obvious advantage one way or another.
I mean, Grimstroke is just going to be food at some point in this game. Against the Storm Spirit, against the Spectre, both those heroes being able to get on top of you. But if PSG LGD can start the fight, get that really cool Soulbind interaction with the Snake, with the double silence, start the fight, stun, get that really Ben. A lot of good things can happen. They are going to be able to find Ramses here, but Ramses pops his ultimate until he's silent, so he can't actually jump to any of his spirits. So he'll just be run down by LGD. They're kind of trying to go on this Medusa right now, but she's so tanky. I can't even believe Pasha's going to try and go for the Primal Split. Looks like he's just going to go for a disengage, but his main Earth Panda was turned to stone, so he's a little bit slow to get it out of here. And that's why LGD are kind of chasing him for now. He's going to return back to his regular form, but he's a bit too close to the tier 2 now. Darkseer gets thrown up in the air, but LGD just playing as that ball that you were talking about.
Yeah, you got to learn how to like connect to each other really quickly. LGD, I think, is really good at that. The speed at which they kill the Spectre and the Deuce's already running over. That's why she got caught out right there. She's on the way to connect to make sure that there are no holes in which they kill. You have to set up this moving wall to make your team feel very comfortable. And for VP, it's the opposite. They want to split you up. They want to try to move the map around so that they can set up with the Spectre hunt. The way the ideal fight goes is they catch one hero farming, Spectre hunts in, they get a quick pick off. Spectre's hunt also confirms if there's a smoke or anybody behind that you can make the read on where to go. And then the Storm has a very free game. Like I love the Storm Spectre combo because you just give each other information on where to go.
And this information being given to Roger that he needs to get the hell out of here as Ame was rotating around to go for the pickoff.
Drops the horse, so nobody can get close. FY had already committed the stun.
Ame was rotating around to go for the pickoff. Gonna farm up the wards at least. Yo, where's my Sven? Like, Ame's got other business to do. He wants to go and take this tower.
That's like 8 CS though.
Yeah.
That's how you know that this guy, he's not your typical pub player.
He's turning into, like, I feel like the Ame that I've seen so many years in the past would have definitely farmed up those wards, but of late, Ame's become such an objective gamer. Yeah. He just goes at these towers.
He realizes the timing of hitting this tower is more important. And look at this. Their unit. Become a unit. Just move as a wall. Have FY sit in the back to be the counter initiation tool to save his Grimstroke. But just have your two tanky cores run forward like this. And if you're VP, you can't just let this go unchecked. I feel like you, even if you don't want to take a fight, you sort of have to like hold the line somewhere.
Yeah, you have to at least hold this tower.
Yes.
Can't actively take a fight because no Spectral, no Primal Split either.
That's one of those uncomfortable situations where you have to gamble, and they correctly gambled right there. They're like, guys, we just have to show up near bottom. We don't have haunts, and it might not look like the best fight, but we at least have to show strength in numbers. You can't just let them march down lanes, because, I mean, if you give good teams an inch, they'll take a mile. You let them take that tier 2, all of a sudden PSG LGD saying, oh, they have the same read of the game, because they don't want to defend any of their tier 2. Let's take everything. Let them take that tier 2, all of a sudden, and gold leads like that snowball, but PSG LGD, they're still formed up. They're going to be this unit. They're going to drop the stun.
And gold leads is an illusion.
Come on, guys.
That is why your smoke is not hot.
They're going to be this unit.
Gonna pop on solo now. He drifts a little far forward. Daring LGD to go on him. Does have the borrow time.
I really like how VP, though, as a response, I love that they did decide to defend that bottom 2 by just showing up. Sometimes that's all it takes to deter people. I really like how is you show up with multiple heroes, you show 4 heroes on the map, and for PSG LGD, it's likely you win that fight, but you really want to risk fighting under the tower like that. People have buybacks. Like, you're introducing a lot of X factors by fighting under towers like that.
Especially against a Storm Spirit with buyback, and like if you lose that fight, all of a sudden the Spectre is able to get Diffusal Manta, then your Medusa's game becomes a lot harder. He can't play, like he's been playing, you know, he'll be near his team, but in the general area because he knows he's tanky enough to survive. Primal Split not going to go off. Immediately gets silenced. FY is going to be able to get two-man strike. This is looking bad until maybe no one comes in. They do manage to get the soul fight out. Chalice surges away, trying to run away from no one, who still has plenty of mana. The dagger is going to catch him in the final shot from no one. Will bring him down. FY spotted inside of his dance sword. Burrow strikes up to the high ground. A Sven stun comes out as well. No one is very low on mana, but the Sven gets tossed up in the air. He's getting kited around now. No one will come back to earth here and pull Ame back into the shrine. VP's going to fight around as best as possible. 3 dead from LGD, and will they pursue on the side of VP, or will they call it just happy with the win, as is a 1-for-3 exchange? They will not get greedy here. They are very content with the way that fight went.
Fantastic engaging. It looked like it was going to be all PSG LGD because they were able to trap out the Brewmaster before he got anything off, but what really hurt them there was they needed their 2 cores in the front line. They weren't the wall. They need their DOTA and their Sven there much earlier. They just responded too late.
If Sven is there and they burst the
it's done. If he throws down a Stormbolt into those 2 heroes with the Grim Soulbind, the fight is unwinnable for VP. But VP, I love the decisiveness. They're like, this is our opportunity. It's 3 heroes. Even if the fight looks initially bad, we still have to go for it. And it's these maneuvers where I think a lot of lesser teams would take a second to think about it, and the opportunity window would be missed. We still have to go for it. They realize, like, even with 4, VP's like, we're not fighting into that DOTA Sven. We just don't have enough. But as long as we can kill everybody else, remove the disables from the team fight, maybe we can win it. And that's how you have to do it. You have to do guerrilla warfare. Snipe at these heroes that act as your disables, then you'll eventually get to a point where you win it. That's how you have to do it. Once your roster has things like Aetherland. Snipe at these heroes that act as your
Blink Dagger's coming up soon for FY. Obviously, he got a great initiation into that fight, but maybe it'll make a difference for LG as we move forward. They are still up by 2,000 net worth right now, and that Medusa is very far ahead of anybody else. 11,000 net worth for him, where you've got the Storm and Spectre just about to get over that 10K marker. Another smoke up, perhaps? Yeah.
I think this might be their last one. We just saw them back-to-back smoke, so this is going to be a pretty important one for them. They feel like the timing of the DOTA is so strong. And this time they're thinking they can take this fight. They're going to run into each other.
Pasha needs to be able to get out the Primal Split. They can't afford to get these chain disables. The Silence is coming out, and it looks like VP is starting to retreat. The Silence stays on top of the Soulbind. He gets it to no one. No one is locked down, but the Primal Split does successfully go off. Sven getting kited around. He is going to be able to dispel that Warcry, making a much squishier. And they're doing
FY over the top.
Epicenter coming in. That turns the fight over. almost, and no one is able to jump away thanks to a great body shield. Solo walking his way back. Ramsey's marching forward. He does manage to bring down the Sven, fighting this out. He knows he's taking it up to be able to win this fight for his team, even if the Brewmaster does fall. FY sitting inside of his Sandstorm, but Ramsey's a bit low now as the Medusa comes back into the fight. BP realized that they can't take it against this tanky core, so they will have to give up on the Shadow Shaman as well. Another great back and forth team fight as both teams, the ebb and flow of these engagements. If you just have the Primal Split not going off in time, that fight looks so much different.
Yeah, it was because of the Primal Split that the Medusa wasn't able to pop her ulti to save her Sven in time. I mean, the team fighting of both of these teams is absurd. Just the way that the layer things, they were barely able. The last swing was coming into Pasha as he pops the ulti. No one was able to get out because of the shield from Solo. His team fight positioning was perfect. At the bottom, you'll see the Shaman set up for the fight too. Roger walks all the way around to get the control on Ame to get the kill. Everyone on both sides. I mean, the amount of skill in this, look at him. From the bottom, drops the wards, finds the angle. That's perfect range usage.
That is a beautiful wrap around. I can't believe how low no one got as well there. Just so many things going the way of VP that LGD was not able to eke out. What once again looked like a strong start to a team fight. That's twice now.
I mean, this is what team fights look like when the teams are so evenly matched, and everyone's just fantastic at spellcasting. You're not seeing these like huge errors made on either side, because it was the correct thing for the Sven and the Dusa to be there. They thought, well, what we were missing on the Brewmaster last time was that burst, but when you can't hard commit and the Dusa just gets tossed up into the air, it's a game of inches at that point for either side. But when you can't hard
9-11, a very close game.
It's a game of
We're approaching the 25-minute marker. Only a 2,000.
Look at that. This is how even the game. This is how even the game. Like Dota thinks that this is a 50-50, and for me, it really feels like all of these team fights against lesser teams. Like when we saw the series against Complexity or Mineski, the game is just over with that one fight. But both of them are keeping themselves like they're giving each other fighting chances. Medusa doesn't die in that fight. No one doesn't die in that fight. The game is just over with. So you're not really seeing any advantage being given one way or another.
Now, it sounded like the way you set this whole entire game up, there's going to be a lot of power spikes back and forth between these two teams. We've got the Eye of Scotty now for the Medusa. That's got to be a big one for LG.
Yes, because she needs that control. You see that once they lose the disable, the Spectre just walked away from her. They were trying to do some cute body block tricks with the Darkseer of Abaddon illusion, but you need some way to slow him down.
Asha daring them to go on him, but they actually had a sentry down to be able to reveal the storm. They're going to get him! They pull the vacuum back into Solo as well. In the back lines, Ramses tries to go for one of the squishy supports, but now he just wants to get out of here because VP, they've already lost the fight. Ramses going to try and dagger on through. Solo giving up his life to try and heal the Spectre as best as possible, but they caught him outside of the trees. And now he dies like that. A double kill for maybe 3 dead on VP. We've had very even fights back and forth, but this one, LGD cleanly win, and it's off the back of being able to see that Storm Spirit with the Invis.
Yeah, it's just that vision that they have. So well done. The fight could have gone the other way, but VP very cocky. Storm's just running around saying like, it's just I'm good. They're not going to be able to get a fight going. Guys, everybody run over. And it was just a complete trap.
I got to see that one again, too, because I see the sentry that's out there. He had to be barely.
Yeah, he was just on the edge of it. And it was just a know-it-all to say, like, we're going to drop the sentry. And it has to have just been for the ward. Because they don't have any smokes. That was one of those, like, coincidental things that just, like, we're going to drop the sentry.
Yeah, you just kind of luck into and it works.
There's no way they knew about the invis, I think.
Because that's a very common dire ward spot. Because you look for invasion too and it works. Yeah, look at that. He's just barely inside of that. Because that's a very common dire sentry area. And they just turned so quickly on him. You know, he was luck. A little bit of luck for sure finding that opportunity, but they took full advantage of it. They reacted very quickly.
Yeah, and no one has to know too that it's just a really common D ward spot.
Yeah,
them to go for. But we'll pay for that hubris with his life. It's just a really common. Maybe this is what PSG LGD needed to break this game open. But and again, you see it's the wall that they formed in that team fight. All together is 5 at all times. Be together is 5. Don't chance anything. And again, run down lanes together.
We said that's the fight that cracks open the game. 7,000 net worth lead, and now PSG LGD going for Roshan, but it looks like VP, they're not just going to let Sleeping Dogs fly. They are going to try and fight this one out, as they are not willing to give even more of an advantage to LGD. They approach the Roshan pit, LGD quickly scatters.
I'm not sure if their Roshan taking ability, you have to commit God Strength for that.
Yeah, it's so slow. They don't have any minus armor.
I'm not sure if
got like no medallion on their team or anything like that.
Fresh 10-second BKB picked up by Sven. This is going to be massive for him just to not get tossed up into the air repeatedly.
So when's the next swing the other way? Like you said, VP thinks the Spectre is going to be the best hero in this game. What's the next item that she needs?
They have to. I think they have to feel like she is. I think she needs her level 20 plus. It's always going to be the level 20 plus the like the next item, like Butterfly or Scotty,
whatever that tank.
Yeah. Her level 20 plus.
Solo. He instantly pops his power behind time, but he actually popped it a little bit too early, so he still receives a full stun duration, which means he's so slow to be getting back to this tier 2. Hex does go out, now they're going to vacuum him back in, and that fight was
dead. They might go for Roshan now.
So slow to be getting back to it's crazy how just, like, if he had instantly dispelled off the stun, he gets a little bit closer to the tier 2. Maybe LGD isn't willing to commit for that kill.
Yeah.
It's crazy
and,
how just,
when it comes to teams like this, I think it's always a numbers game. I think they thought about going for the Roshan, but it looks like they're going to back up, reset the lanes a little bit, and it is the Scotty. I thought it was going to be the Scotty or the Butter, one of the two, but it looks like they're going to back up. But he's going to be an item timing behind because he also needs the MKB against the DOTA. Like somebody needs, they either need a Bloodthorn or an MKB to be able to deal with that DOTA.
And that's probably, you think maybe he's going to build into the
somebody needs, they either need a Bloodthorn
right?
or an MKB for no.
Or, sorry, no. Probably, maybe he's going to build into
somebody needs. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't feel great because I think DOTA has Manta, right?
Yeah. So your Orchid timing feels terrible, but they are going to be able to catch.
Yeah, I mean, Roger died because I think DOTA has Manta, right?
Very. So your Orchid timing feels
You notice that for VP the game has changed ever since that top engagement. It's no longer let's just ram heads and you know we'll use our superior individual skill that scales us out. Ever since that, because VP they're so talented mechanically, like everybody fights so well that against most teams they can just kind of bludgeon you with that. Like even when they're even, like we saw against Mineski, they eventually will win out. But against this game now, you have to split the map up. Because they're so evenly matched, they can teamfight just as well as you. I think this is a very near-esque type of matchup, especially with the drafts that we have. Then now the game is switched for VP. Now it's let's split push, hope that they don't. The way to counter this like 5-man moving wall is just to get more on the map by splitting it up at all times. Do the alliance style, push out the side lanes, like the cores stand on opposite sides of the map, and eventually we'll catch somebody unawares. That's how you deal with this at this point.
And I feel like they do have the very elusive cores to be able to make that kind of play. I mean, we see the Spectre being pretty far out there a lot of times. They're going to try and go for the 30-minute bounty runes. There is going to be maybe Here's just going to march forward. They do manage to pick up the bounty rune. Spectre is very tanky, though. It's going to take a while to be able to bring him down, especially since they've already used the stun, so they're going to go for solo instead. Pasha is going to walk away. Look at Ame boosting forward just to make sure he grabs the bounty rune.
You think you rush with this God Strength?
So they're going to go for solo instead. They're near the Roshan pit, but doesn't look like it. Maybe with the AC, that'll be the big damage upgrade for Ame as well as the minus.
I just figured since they use it anyways and it is a 4-on-5, there was an opportunity to do so.
That'll be even just an opportunity to see if LGD will take a fight.
Yeah, because I think for PSG LGD, the next objective to win this game is to get that onto your DOTA and just let her glide along lanes. Then it's suddenly like, well, you have to come at us.
Yeah, it's such a great high ground hitter at that point, where killing DOTA once is a bit troublesome. Twice seems impossible.
I think it already feels kind of, it feels incredibly difficult at this point anyways.
Yeah.
But at that point, Aegis DOTA, like VP at very, you know, you pop your 2 ults, and if you don't kill her once in that, you definitely lost the fight. And even then, it's a gamble. If you kill her once using the Bruce Split plus the Spectre Hunt, you don't kill her once in that, you definitely lost the fight.
VP is doing a pretty good job here, splitting up the map. They may not be able to get quite as much farm as LGD is, when you just kind of own the map and farm anywhere you want. It's a bit difficult to keep up, but they are getting those next round of items soon.
I think this game is much more It's probably like 70-30 at this point. But 30% is still very good for
this next round of items too. Pretty on point.
This game is much more. It's probably like 70-30.
That's about 70% right there.
Yeah, I think this game's like 70-30 right now. So VP still have a way to win, and the way that is you just keep tossing the DOTA up into the air repeatedly.
Yeah.
You have to ignore her. The way that good teams fighting around DOTA and VP's a good team is ignore her. She doesn't have a BKB. She'll just be tossed up into the air forever. Keep that Spirit Pen alive. Toss her. Deal with everybody else. Get to the back line. Kill FY in the Grimstroke first. The Darkseer alone doesn't deal a lot of damage. He's like an enabler in a way, so it's really just you kill the Sven at that point. You play Ring Around the Rosie with him. The Darkseer alone doesn't deal a lot of damage.
We did have some damage problems. The Radiance picked up by the Brewmaster will help solve that a bit as we've got that damage over time. Even the missed chance is going to help a lot.
I like that Radiance pickup a lot because maybe he's shown that he isn't going for something like the MKB or the BKB. As Solo's going to walk in.
And with the AC, looks like LGD are finally willing to fully commit to taking this Roshan. But VP, they cannot just let this happen. They're going to take away all the mana from Pasha. The jump in from no one trying to go for the back line, but the Glimmer Cape as well as the Warcry. They have the Crimson Guard as well. There's so many ways to make these supports tanky.
Protect your supports. That's what they have to do. And you see no one. He's looking for a weak
Spectre's going to pop in. No one trying to go in. They aren't able to pick it up quite yet. The Medusa does manage to snatch it away as VP take the kill. Immediately Shackles goes down. They do taunt him off in the air. With his BKB, he is so hard to fight it right now. That's why Rams is going for the back line as best as possible. Can't see FY inside the Sandstorm, so he's going for challenge right now. Helping with the control.
Just in the air.
Oh no, he gets stuck with Burrow Strike. Now the chain's done as well, but the F-Body Shield actually managed to keep him alive.
Keep her in the air.
Himself away. Throw that one more time in the air. Can't able to get it off, and now the Medusa's damage starts coming in with the Epicenter as well. Spectre going down to half health. Pasha in trouble as well. Spectre trying to get up into the trees. He's okay for now. He's able to just glide along this cliff area. Goes for the TP out. Actually spotted though. He gets knocked back down as his Spectral Dagger. That buff went away. He gets knocked out of the trees. Indivision stops the TP. 80 seconds on the clock for him. LGD with the big win. Very important that they grab that Aegis too.
And what a buyback from FY, because it looked like it could have gone the other way in VP's direction, but the Epicenter over the top just cleans house. And what a buyback from FY. And Pasha did such a good job in that fight. He threw her up in the air 3 different times, and you saw that Ame was also really smart. He's like, I'm going to all in for this win. With this win panda, he's like, I can't allow this to happen. So he used that entire time finding it. So it was a cat and mouse game where Pasha's like, I'm gonna run it away in Viz. You don't have vision of it, and it looks really awkward. So he used that entire time finding it.
Do you think that
so it was a cat and mouse game where Pasha's
the next step for LG is you gotta have detection?
Yes,
very smart to target that win panda.
You can allow her to get tossed up once, I think, but she almost got tossed up 3 times in the air. You saw that he was going for it a 3rd time when she popped that Manta, and his timing on his ulti just ran out. But being able to keep her in the air and isolated for that long is so important. As I think she does have to build, I mean, she's got to build some sort of item that doesn't allow that to happen, whether it be BKB. I don't think she loves building BKB in this game. I mean, she's got to build some sort of item that doesn't allow that to happen. It can't feel good to just consistently be knocked up in the air. I don't think she loves building BKB.
Butterfly, it looks like deciding to build an MKB.
It can't feel good to just consistently be knocked up in the air.
In this position, LGD. Butterfly, it looks like deciding to build looking just to run into the high ground because Virtus Pro have already shown it's a bit tough to win these engagements. Looking just to run into the high BKB up for the Storm Spirit though. That can really help when it comes to committing and killing that back line as best as possible. They're going to try and get a bit of harassment damage on him maybe here. Burn him out, slow down the damage. Now no one makes that jump. Goes to the end, but immediately goes to the back line, trying to finish off FY, but he managed to get the Ghoul Scepter down. Now the Soul Fight is actually locking no one in place. He's still trying to go for that kill. Nova actually does end up falling to his own Spirit there as Ramsey's trying to head into the trees once again. This time he will be successful, but FY managed to juke out no one, blinks himself away. He's going to be good for now. That Storm Panda continuing to throw up the Medusa in the air, but now the Primal Split is dead, and the Sven and Medusa, they don't have a way to be able to deal with them. They just lack the damage, so maybe pushes forward once again, looking to be able to finish off that melee Barracks.
And VP, they do have a numbers advantage, and if there's going to be a chance for them, it's here, as the Grimstroke is dead.
They have to kite him around. Very important that the Shadow Shaman stays alive here, as they need those disables. Fortunately, Solo is able to help that out. Now the Epicenter coming back in. They're going to try and finish up Pasha here. Pasha does manage to limp away. No one. Oh no, he got stunned, but the Afadi shield goes up just in time. The Bloodstone helping to keep him alive. He's maybe in trouble here, though. He just gets brought down by LGD. Ramsey's trying to limp himself away, but looking like this is all over for VP as they are running out of buybacks here. They're running out of ground to retreat to as they head to the fountain, but they're chased all the way to the door of it, and they can't make it through. The door is shut down on VP, as well as the door on this game one. PSG LGD. A great start to this series for them.
Fantastic game one. Really skilled on both sides, and what blew it all open, that invis rune where they spotted him. The game was even to that point. Really skilled on both sides, and what blew
it goes to show, I mean, these two teams, so high skilled, very interesting drafting as well. The game's just going back and forth, but it really goes to show that there's only these little bits and pieces where these teams are so evenly matched up together that the game can swing.
Oh, after yesterday, I hope we get more games like this.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't want the 20-minute stomps. I want the back and forth where you're seeing the best Dota be played. I hope we get more games like this.
Despite the dominant way we saw that end, I think there's no doubt that we could see a game 3 here. As we're going to head now to the panel to see their thoughts on this fantastic game 1. I think there's no doubt that we could see a game 3 here.
Thank you so much, Cap and Blitz. That is what we were looking for, gentlemen. Two top-tier teams going neck and neck. I'm here with Fog and Gods. Guys, finally we get to see some TI level Dota. Talk to me about that scene.
It was a fun game to watch overall. I mean, it was team fights after team fights after team fights. I think we were worried about the damage coming out from VP, and I think we've really started to see it coming into play. Medusa, I mean, maybe just held his ground.
I mean, there were these moments, though, where they got these great big group fights, and then nothing happens with the Gods.
Yeah, and I mean, Fog mentioned the damage, but then LGD had damage in spades. They could burn everyone's mind with the Mystic Snake, but Sven was such a good last pick. Something Fog and I was talking about. Like, okay, you've got the damage to do with the Spectre, but also the Brew split. This hero, you pop your split. If there's a Sven there with God Strength up, he's just going to cleave through all your Panda links, and you're just out of the fight.
I mean, both of them, right? Both the Dusa and the Sven. If the Brew runs in, like, some of the situations he was almost getting mana burn before, but then you get Stone Gaze and you're just, you're at risk of dying to those two.
There's a couple situations where we saw Shadow Shaman trying to come in, like in the Roche fight, and Sven just two-shot the guy. There was nothing that he could do. No control whatsoever.
And the crazy thing is, LGD had a really rough lane. Their off lane went very poorly with this Darkseer Sanking. We've seen these Darkseer +1 lanes where they creep skip and just have a field day. VP game plan for it. That was what they came into the series knowing. We're not going to go for the Darkseer. They're going to do this Darkseer +1 behind our tower, and we're going to try lane it, crush it. They did that, but it still wasn't enough.
So if you looked at the kills, if you looked at the XP, it seemed like kind of an even match, but as high-tier analysts, was it that even at all? One team did have a major advantage, LGD, as you guys thought in the drafting phase.
Yeah, I think LGD had a match advantage. However, it's like if VP is ever able to win one of those fights, the whole game can just turn around, and the whole decision can change. Because if Spectre cleans up, you get a full item out of the team fight. It just wasn't the
answers for it.
This one looked like it was probably going to be the best one for VP there, right? We see the Brew, he gets the split off at like the 100 HP or so. They use absolutely everything, but the Dusa in this entire fight is thrown up in the air. She lands, and we're just like I was just looking at maybe his health for the most part. No one gets completely pushed out of the fight, and this Medusa is full HP, full mana the entire time during all of this. Sure, his teammates are starting to drop, though. They lose Ame, but the Dusa is the concern, and she's just, yeah, no fear whatsoever, just constantly throwing those Mystic Snakes.
Yeah.
All they can do is just throw disables and hope for the best, but
It's a bit of a problem that we've been seeing. You know, you can take out one of these huge damage dealers like a Sven, and most teams have these backup massive damage. Look at this. If you don't take out somebody instantly, you guys are all going down with a lineup like this.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of what VP could throw at Sven and DOTA was just annoying things. Like, here's a Hex, here's a Shackles, a Cyclone, your Ward Trap, whatever. They don't threaten to kill you, whereas Storm, there's so many different things that can kill him. A stun from a Sand King, a silence from the Grimstroke, you know, the Sven, the burst damage potential with a stun plus God Strength. So Storm had to play the fights very cautiously. DOTA, Sven, you just walk in. If you get disabled, you wait for it to end, and then you land, and you just keep on right-clicking. You're not really at too much risk of dying.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean that's why when I was thinking about the Grimstroke, and I see the Sand King already too, and then the Sven picked up. Like Storm, you don't really like playing versus all of these stuns and disables, and some of these are pretty instant. You pretty much need a BKB at this point, but you also want your Kaya, you need your Bloodstone. So you can see the choices on Noah in this game. He went for the Kaya, went for the Bloodstone, but then damage issues we talked about, that can start happening, and it absolutely did.
Gods, you said that VP is best when they're forward and aggressive, and you said that they struggle when they're on their back foot. Back foot on this game, would you say?
After the first 5 minutes, yeah, they didn't have the heroes that could play as aggressive as they would have liked. When they have this Spectre that just needs to kind of farm throughout the early to mid game, the way they play aggressive is for, Pasha to do a lot. But he's playing a off-lane Brew that was, your traditional off-lane. 1v2, had a tough lane, took a bit of time to get up to level 6. Also went for this Midas, which I understand. I think it was kind of the right idea where you had to go ultra late game to win this, but they didn't have anyone to really set the tempo and play fast-paced once the laning stage ended. Roger had a great laning stage. He was getting kills top, going bottom to help, gets that double kill mid for No One Storm, but once the laning stage fell apart, there was nothing really for VP to do.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, your MVP Chalice, who yet again, 0 stuns with that Darkseer. He's keeping it together, but chat's being right. For once, our MVP votes, I would have to say Chalice was a big part of that game, Fog.
Yeah, I mean, the itemization, it's your natural standard Darkseer, but you looked at the opposing side and you saw Pasha build a pipe toward the later stages of the game, but they didn't have someone to match versus what Chalice was doing with his impact. The Crimson Guard, Greaves in the fights. Greaves is just such a value item. Same thing with Crimson Guard when you're playing with DOTA, because the way the damage blocks works with Energy Shield and also just your Mana Shield, and also just Greaves restores both. So, yeah, it was their opener pick, right? It was their opening Darkseer, and it was phenomenal. There's a reason we see this hero banned so often, just how much impact. It's always been, since Darkseer was introduced, king of teamfight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm not sure we'll be able to see a Darkseer again after that kind of performance. That was a lot of damage for 2 kills, 2 deaths. Gracious.
Yeah.
Anyway, gentlemen, I have a little challenge for you here. I've noticed from our first panel, you guys, very intelligent analysts, but you seem to just be on the same side on everything I ask you about. There's no tension on this panel. So I have a few questions for you. Question for you. Which model is better, Wraith King or Skeleton King? Fogged.
Are we allowed to talk about this at a Valve event?
Yes.
I plead.
I hope. Sorry, Gaben. Please, don't fire me yet. Wraith King or Skeleton King? If you had to choose. Say it, Fogged.
Skeleton King?
Wraith King.
Oh, yes, it's happening.
Oh, God.
Why?
I love you. Please don't.
I just knew you wanted me to disagree.
No, that's not the game. That's not the game.
I have to go Skeleton King.
This is the real one. The real question. Fogged, what's better? A cat as a pet or a dog?
I'm a dog person. I like both. I love all animals equally. I really do. But
some more equally than others.
Some more equal. No, there's something about, I don't know. I had a dog when I was growing up. He came, licked me in the morning. A cat doesn't come and lick you in the morning and wake you up and make you feel excited,
They do. They lick you with their scratchy, pointy tongues. Gods, cat or dog?
Dog, yeah. I have a pet dog. Cat. You've not done your research, just relax. We're still agreeing on everything. I'm sorry.
Is there anything you don't agree on? Can you think of one thing? Favorite hero, worst hero in Dota, most annoying hero, go.
Meepo.
Techies.
Ooh. Fog, you love techies.
No, I don't. I hate techies. Especially your techies.
Shut up, Fog. We need to get going with this draft pretty soon. So, all right, I'll keep working on it. If you guys have any ideas to get these two disagree, please.
NA Dota and SEA Dota. You could just ask that.
Oh, yeah, Fog, you hate SEA Dota, right?
No.
You think it's worthless?
No. I like all those guys.
Do you think NA Dota is great?
I think there's like 1 or 2 teams that are great in NA Dota.
Gods?
I'd agree with that. I'll go with the 1, not the 2, but yeah, there's one team.
Thanks a lot, Gons. Huge. All right, guys, let's get back on track and back to this amazing series that we have for Game 2. VP 1 game away from elimination. I don't think any of us are expecting them to go home after this game, though. All right? They got 2 more games in them.
We hope.
I hope so. I really do. It looked a bit troublesome in that one. Sure, they opened with their Storm Spirit. They tried to put it out there. We'll see maybe if what they try to adjust and change, but they're definitely going to have to bring the heat because LGD, they were just battling, right? They were just bringing the fights nonstop, and we could see VP, they went for a bit of a more greedy draft, right? They went for the Spectre, they went for the Storm. This is the second time now with the Spectre they struggled here, right? They did it versus OG versus the Drow Ranger, and it didn't work out either, so.
Yeah, I think the downfall with that Storm pick was that LGD is the team that has played and used Storm better than anyone, so typically the case is you also know what beats it and what not to play against. Maybe he plays a ton in pubs, he's probably played that Storm versus Dusa matchup and knows how miserable it is with the Mystic Snake and some of the heroes that can just ruin Storm's game, and yeah, I mean, they were completely prepared for no one there.
Yeah, for real, I think that in that last series, it was probably one of the only series where I thought the bans had a huge impact. I mean, we saw that AM ban, and then that got planted into Medusa. We saw a lot of focus on a lot of key heroes. Even a Disruptor got banned out there, too. So you can tell that LGD is super prepared for this series, and you only really see that on the ban screen, in my opinion. But all right, so we are getting ready for this next game. Gents, is Morphling going to make it this time? Both these teams do love Morph. Will we see it? I was surprised to see that it was, as Gods predicted, a second phase ban instead of a first.
The only way I think we'll see Morph is if he's first 2'd. I think, at least for the most part. I don't know what other, unless it's just like unless it just doesn't look like a Morphling game, then we probably won't even see it picked up. But
yeah, I think with LGD they've not mind versing Morph when they had something like the Storm or something with heavy magic damage, but it's likely a ban. It hasn't felt like Morph is just like, you know, top tier unbeatable carry by any means, but you get to those second bans and the carry pool is very defined right now, especially for players I think like Ramses and Ame.
All right, now Gabe, listen up, because I know you're gonna like this comment here. Is there any chance that VP might be losing because 3 of the people on their team do not have a battle pass? No spamming, no annoyance for LGD, where LGD clearly has all of the pass levels that they could want.
It is a bit surprising to see VP not spamming it out. I mean, that is their jam, and that's usually like their confidence, right?
They weren't ready for it. The mid-tournament battle pass caught them by surprise.
It's true.
You need more time to prepare and build the metagame.
Maybe that's why we're having trouble getting into the draft, is because they're buying battle pass levels right now. They won't enter the lobby. They're trying to beef up. It's their last chance. They could go home.
It looked like they were replay watching to me.
Replay.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah, well.
Definitely you definitely go through. I mean, you definitely go through and you rewatch that game and just be like, what went so wrong? Because they probably didn't feel like they were that far behind it, but because they had this, like we said, the tri-lane, right? That was the one thing that did catch LGD off guard, is having that tri-lane, but
it was extremely effective. Oh yeah, we are seeing replays right there. Look at that. You are absolutely correct. On everybody's screen right there. Very nice. So yeah, going through that Spectre tri-lane.
Well, Ramses is probably just player perspective himself, seeing what he could have done better.
Yeah. I think they'll see that goal difference where it's like, okay, because we see this, 5K goal difference, 6 kills apiece. They don't know how big the farm discrepancy is. They maybe have a feel like they see this Sven or Deuce come out and they're like, oh, they're farm, but they'll suddenly have a better understanding when they go back and see the full picture that, okay, we were being heavily out-farmed. This game wasn't particularly close until they had some clutch fights where they outplayed LGD, which made the game a lot more even, but they were entirely reliant on out-team fighting them.
Now, I've played several games with analysts from the Dota 2 scene, and I do commonly hear them say in games they just make up numbers saying, we're probably about 5K behind these guys, 10K behind these guys. They got to have some idea, right?
You can usually have a bit of a read, of course. I mean, if Sven and Deuce are off the map for a while, you start to get a little bit of a read, but you never can.
Yeah, we got him fogged. Take that, Gods. Completely wrong. Am I right, Fogged? Yeah.
What?
Come on, guys. Just once disagree with each other.
That's true. We also maybe think about more than pros, because like whenever we're casting or analyze, we look at gold leads.
That is true.
So when we're playing, we're also thinking, oh, gold leads. I wonder if we're ahead or behind.
It is. it is really interesting when you start hearing like the pros when they start. I mean, we got to cast with Matu recently, and just like him looking at the games and the way he's like, wow, is it really? Is this what you? Is it always this boring? Is like, does nothing happen for this? I'm sorry, you know, like it is different when you.
Yeah, well, coming from a Viper spammer, of course it's boring for us to watch. Matu's the only guy who plays Viper. That hero is miserable to watch.
Makes it, yeah, he made it
he
exciting.
Enjoys it.
I excited. I mean, I was excited watching him survive 1 versus 4. And
that was cool.
Come on, that was cool.
One of the only ones. Okay, guys, I got the topic. Here we go. Best Disney movie. Everyone's got one. Best Disney movie out of all the Disney movies. What is it?
Lion King.
Lion King.
Go Lion
Very strong. A lot of metaphors about growing up, becoming someone, having fun.
Oh, so many. I don't know. Recently, I've been liking some of the new ones. I don't really rate one all the way up the top. I don't know. I kind of like.
You say Lion King.
It's not Lion King. It's definitely not Lion King then for me. There you go. It's really not. I don't know. I really like Mulan. I like Tangled. I don't know. Those are
Tangled was surprisingly.
Tangled was. I did not think it was gonna be that good. I actually enjoyed it.
What's yours, Lex?
What? Oh, you're asking me questions now.
Yeah.
Gracious, I didn't think about it. I would have to say, favorite one. What do I want? Oh, this is too. You can't ask host questions. I'm not prepared for any of this stuff. I would have to say probably Treasure Planet. Treasure
Never
Planet.
watched Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet.
Is that even a Disney movie?
I think I'd final answer Mulan though.
Final
Tangled's
answer.
up there, but I don't think it's even second. I think there's still a couple in between. I'm a Mulan fan. Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gents, let's get into that draft. PSG, LGD versus Virtus Pro. One of these teams is going home, and Virtus Pro is only 1 game away from it. We're going to see the Sand King and the Bat Rider band out first with that classic Doom. Drow still available. Oracle still available. We've got some stuff. I'm starting to hear some chat spam, boys.
A lot of chats, man.
Here we go. They were buying the packs, ladies and gentlemen.
No one's got a smile on his face, too. So, yeah, like you said, there's change up in the bands coming out here. So, heroes will be left out in the pool. So, Oracle might make it through. Darkseer might make it through.
Drow might make it through.
Drow
was
might
banned last game.
So, if Oracle's in the pool, that changes the priority of where Darkseer goes, too.
Yep. And then the Abaddon was the other one we saw last game as a first pick. Not a hero LGD typically go for. But LGD banning out the Oracle, which leads to the Darkseer ban.
So yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. Which one do they want to open with?
First pick here. As we see. And it's the Drow. First pick is there's something real wrong with the meta, Ice Frog. It's time for a during game patch, I think.
During game.
Get on it, Val. Just nerf her right now. All right, Frog, you're the smartest guy in Dota.
What? Thanks, I guess.
Why exactly is Drow broken? Why is she...
Does everything. Catches up super hard. One of the highest strongest scalers in the game. Amplify all your heroes. You're just doing pretty much everything. Always having objective takers makes the game a lot easier. Drow is a natural one. You one-shot Ancients as well.
You one-shot Ancients.
You catch up so fast, and even when you don't really have too many items, just because of the way that your aura and your ulti works, you can actually do damage to people. I saw a Drow Ranger with a Dragon Lance yesterday, killing a Doom with a Crimson Guard and like 3 other items. All he had was Dragon Lance, and he was chunking him down even though.
Gods, you can one-shot Ancients. Is this balanced?
5 seconds remaining.
Sure. It's been in Dota for, you go back 15 years or something, it was in Dota. The old Drow.
10%, 15%, 20%.
Yep.
But that was for every creep. That was all creeps that used to do that. But it didn't also give you bonus damage on any hits, though, for on heroes. No. It only gave you the 10% chance to go. That was so long ago.
Life's still a huge chunk of health with it.
That is
great.
True. That was so long ago.
Yep.
Ancient times with 2 ancient analysts here as we see Enigma get picked up. Interesting.
So, I mean, LGD could look at something like, the Rubik, second pick here.
Wouldn't be
I don't know if you want to get too trapped in that mindset, though. I mean, it's a great Rubik game. Don't get me wrong, but it's like VP is looking to run over them. Like Enigma's, you're not picking Enigma solely for Black Hole. Rubik can still steal the spell and have a big impact on the game, but you're looking to build those auras. I think VP after last game is like looking to play faster, looking to take a lot of objectives, and they know the way to beat Drow is to not let it go to late game. All the things you mentioned, you don't want to go late game versus Drow. Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
All right. Well, do you want to pick Rubik though? Now?
I would like to See maybe a Shaker instead.
Yeah, Shaker was the other
Shaker's
one
just better, even though it doesn't deal with the Enigma Black Hole threat.
Wow.
They want Storm.
Ooh.
Oh no, this has got to be a pretty big play here.
They opened it. You guys opened with Storm? We'll open with Storm, and now they're going to ban the heroes they don't want to play against here, be it the Anti-Mage, be it the DOTA, if they want that to be the case.
Quite a
Solar Sphere
maybe
being picked up.
very psychological move there. I'd be terrified if I was VP. They're going to second pick Storm against us.
It's a little scary, but it's also like, like they haven't picked their supports, but you know more or less what kind of heroes FY wants to be playing right now.
True.
You have a pretty good understanding of what's coming your way.
I like that ban a lot. I think especially with the Enigma there in the pool. Like they have Enigma, you don't want to play against Naga, and also they have a Drow. We've seen the teams we were talking about, they like Sniper and Naga quite a bit here versus that Drow Ranger.
There's a couple other options, though. We've seen successful Monkey Kings against Drows before, being able to cross that distance. Haven't seen pretty much any backline Piercer that knows how to focus with it. And again, that is the weakness, in my opinion, of Drow in this tournament. You first pick Drow, your strategy's known, and there's ways to get... Everyone that is at this level knows how to beat a Drow draft.
Yeah.
And that's just it.
I mean, she's only seeing around, I think, 50%, so it's not like this hero's been unbeatable by any means.
Knowing and executing is two different things, though. Because sometimes you have an idea and it just, well, our idea wasn't exactly what we thought it was going to be, and then you just get run over by a Drow.
I know that all too well. Artifact is one of them for me.
So VP target the FY heroes. Pengo Shaker taken out of the pool. Two heroes he's caused a lot of problems on.
Yep.
Not afraid of the Rubik or the black hole counters. They're more looking at the, I think, big picture with what's going to kind of complete LGD's draft a bit.
Do they want an instant disable or something? Do they want something like a Lion this time for a solo, just to be able to catch out this Storm? I know they had the Shadow Shaman last time, but as a 5 position, I'm not really the most fond of a Shadow Shaman.
The other one's the Disruptor that he plays.
Yeah, Lion and Disruptor, I think.
May I make a prediction here? Ooh, no. That would be a naughty move. I was going to say that sometimes we see Virtus Pro pulling out a Winter Wyvern, but obviously, probably not going to happen.
It's a Lion.
Got fucked.
Nice job.
They are very, I mean, these are the 3 of the longest ultimates in the game. Cooldown at level 6 at least for the Lion. They're all 3 minutes pretty much early on.
I mean, as long as they spread them out, it'll be fine. They can just never ult at the same time together, right?
They win fights with just one ult then, is the next question.
Sure. You can team wipe with a level 1 Lion ult. Absolutely.
Do you go for something like Venge here for LGD? Covers your bases, you have a save for your Storm, you have ways to protect versus the Enigma in case of anything.
Potentially.
Gives you at least like a hard stun versus a Brewmaster, which is always nice. Lets you follow up with your Gust.
So, can we talk about this Spectre ban?
Yep.
Why is that important here?
Just against Drow. VP have run Spectre at least once, maybe a couple times versus Drow.
Ah, right. Another backline Piercer.
Yep, you haunt, you get on top of Drow. You chase her with Dagger, even if she gets like a Hurricane Pike to try to get away from you.
I see. So, still plenty of options here as LGD. Will they make the same mistake as Virtus Pro in that last game and not have enough damage? Already that's mitigated with that Drow Ranger, so they could just pick more ranged heroes, and then there you go. And damage is already beefed up, but I would expect them to see some more heavy hitters, right, boys? All right, well, we do have...
I mean, Venge, I think the Bane still kind of has its argument, I think, still, too.
That's a save and Black Hole.
Yeah,
Piercer.
I like both of those personally. I think if for the 5 position, if they want to go for that one here.
Silencer has been picked up a couple times. We do have some pretty big ults that could get ruined.
It's just without a stun. I think that's where the Silencer feels a little lackluster. I think like eventually they'll just, Brew's going to get BKB, so we can just BKB split. But it's good for the lane.
It's always great having an initiator. It's going to be the Bane. Okay.
Nice picks.
I think for X-Nova, it's like those are the big ones that stand out for me. Maybe not the Venge so much. The Bane is definitely the one that he loves, but like both of them had their arguments here in this one.
You're on fire, Fogged. I think that's 3 or 4 in a row that you've predicted here. Take it easy, buddy. Leave some room for the rest of us. Gods? The time
I'm letting Fog carry this one.
So VP, I think they want something that's faster paced here still, because right now I'm a little worried. They've got team fight, but lanes definitely can be a little bit of a problem now. Bane with Drow, and I mean Storm even with Drow. Like the lane isn't really, you don't get amped up so much, but Storm with the Drower in mid game is devastating.
Guys, could this be the 5 range heroes for PSG LGD? We see it so far. That's 3.
No, I don't think so.
I'd like a frontliner for them.
Don't think they're. You don't. Drow Aura these days is different to the bonus damage days, where it's you don't draft 100% around having the aura.
I see.
It's good having a secondary core that benefits from, and you've got that with Storm. But going all in is not the greatest.
Do they want a sniper here?
On VP, ooh. I mean, you're playing in a Storm, but it's...
no, you're in Storm. No, you're in Storm. You're right. No. Don't like it.
Could see the Morphling.
Yeah, still unbanned.
Ooh, that's a change up. Okay.
Taking a book out of the Mineski draft.
It can get on top of targets. They've got to disable. It's fast-paced is the key one for me. It's the one that's going to be making moves around the map and not really relying so much on ultimate because you're an Ember Spirit.
And also, we've seen Ramsey start playing it a bit more, so it's this kind of pick that keeps LGD guessing, because it can go mid or safe lane. So when you have this last pick of the draft, having the flexibility to either pick a big carry or a mid gives you options.
And it's elusive. I mean, there's still a Gust, which can be sometimes annoying, but besides, I mean, he's got pretty free reign. Like, when you don't see an instant disable or some way to just get a lockdown on the Ember, like, you can play around Bane's animation, you can play around Drow's animation pretty nicely.
Absolutely. Pretty disappointed we're not going to see all 3 Spirit Brothers in this series. All the supports have been taken, so...
No, they could be
LGD could take it.
No.
Oh, Nyx. Well, of course, we haven't stopped talking about Nyx. Tsunami's gone, and...
He's finally here.
Ooh, one of the best heroes versus Ember Spirit, because you're just, Flame Guard is your best way to farm and push out waves. Flame Guarding is now a huge risk, because you're versus a Storm and a Nyx. You just set yourself up to get 5-second disabled.
Yeah, and a Bane, too. I mean, their stuns are kind of out of this world on LGD right now.
Nyx is also very good versus Enigma. It's really hard to play this hero, at least if you want to be playing at all around your Black Hole, which they probably won't. It's just going to be your standard aura build, but you always are going to walk in, you're going to try to Midnight Pulse and then Hole. And even if you do just Hole, Nyx just walks into it with Carapace and it cancels the Hole. Most of those situations.
Well, doesn't Nightmare count as a stun, by the way?
I mean, it's a stun, but it's like a...
Oh, on like the numbers and the breakdown? Don't know.
Who's Chalice playing on LGD, do you believe?
10 seconds.
Either the Nyx or the last pick. Not sure what they're going to go for.
Well,
the Nyx Lesh has been a dual lane we've seen a lot of. Could see like a Shaman with the Nyx Assassin if they want to do a 3-position Nyx, but we'll have to see what LGD have in mind.
Very worried about Chalice keeping up his 0 stuns if he is playing the Nyx. Could impact the team very much if he does not land a single stun.
I don't know why every time I think of Chalice I think Beastmaster, but I don't know, it's still coming to my mind for some reason.
All right, Templar Assassin knocked out here. That is not the worst, I actually think. Interesting, they don't really have any damage over time abilities to get rid of that shield, so makes sense to me. That would be a pretty strong pick here. A Shrek as well.
That means they're expecting us to the side lane Ember.
Yeah.
Banning that TA.
I don't think anyone runs mid-Ember. Like, only Mineski runs mid-Ember.
Thompson OG.
Thompson. Ah, good point. But that's just kind of taken over, right? You just run that hero in a lane now. Yes!
Ooh. Oh, where do you lane Ember now? The matchups are really hard.
The jungle.
I mean, that was always, I guess, the Ember versus Storm is still okay.
It's okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, it's Storm going up to him into the Remnants is tough, but you're going to get enough out of that lane to have an impact.
It's definitely harder now that you can actually get the level and pull on Storm. You actually can threaten the Ember quite a bit if he steps up because you have that extra control. And Necro versus Ember is a really tough matchup. That's probably going to be their off lane.
I think VP really needs some, if they want to play fast and use these big ultis to take objectives, they need that objective taker. Like, who's going to be hitting buildings, who's going to hit Roche. The TA was a mid with physical damage. Maybe they just have to put the Ember mid now and get some kind of Ramsey's objective taker.
Hey, there's damage. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, they needed something to take objectives there, and that's fast-paced too. Now they've got Ember and Ursa, the ones that don't have to play around their ultis. You look at the first 3 that we were talking about, long cooldowns.
However, if Virtus Pro don't do very well in this early game, what are their chances of coming back into this game with this kind of draft? I mean,
it's possible.
Rough. Really?
They don't have that big late game scaling carry necessarily, but they've got the team fight. Like Enigma in super late game can always be a threat if you get BKB Blink with the Lincolns and what's going to cancel your Black Hole. So it's not out of the question that they can take a late game, but they do want to take a lot of early objectives, have Roche control, and put LGD on the back foot.
All right, what are you thinking, Fogged? Out of both these drafts,
Want me to go first?
please.
Want to go first? I'm still really liking LGD. I think they've got super comfort heroes. Maybe he's been the most dominant Storm in this tournament, and he's got a Drow aura to boot.
You think Necrophos is going to have a big impact on this game?
I think he's kind of like this soaker. He just like, come at me. I'm going to make the space. I'm going to just run at you, make you go on me, and give space for my Storm and my Drow Ranger to kind of catch up. They might even run some aggro tri-lane to put pressure on. So yeah, I'm liking LGD again.
Gods.
You give me this look like, please disagree with
Gods.
Fog. Do it.
You
do it for the
do what's
stream.
right. Do what's right in your heart. Don't. This is a major. All right. Say what's real.
I think I'm going to go with LGD. I don't think the draft is a completely one-sided affair. I think VP have put themselves in a better position in the last game, but I think LGD just looked kind of unstoppable based on game one.
All right. Well, we're going to find out right now as VP and LGD fight. Don't forget, VP lose this one. That's it for the major, the guys who have won the most. Let's hand it on over to Capitalist and the Blitzmeister. Spicy.
Hey, you got it right this time. That's right, VP versus LGD Game 2 is about to go underway. Blitz, it sounds like the panel once again favoring LGD quite a bit.
Yeah. The question
Surely
is,
you're
like,
going to disagree with them, right?
No, I kind of like PSG LGD's lineup again, because I feel like it's easier for them to win. I think that VP can win. Like last draft, I would have said it was like 55-45 in favor of PSG LGD.
VP versus LGD starts now.
PSG LGD contre Vici Pro. Game 2.
I just say, Blitz, I was getting chills hearing the chants come out from the LGD fans, giving me a little bit of reminiscing to TI.
Yeah, shout out to our ops team too, Caro and JJ.
Done it. Excellent job for us. People were asking about the battle pass. Is it muted? No. So you could see LGD and VP having their funs with it. We're going to have the bounty rune spawning out. Looks like Lion's going to try and slip into the back line here and try and take it away from the Drow Ranger. Gives up on that. So we're going to have 2 for 2 once again. What are the big problems for that VP have to overcome? How are they going to be able to make this go to a game 3?
I think usually when drafts work out, like 2 good teams, they're stronger at one phase of the game, right? That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
And both teams, like last game, for example, I thought that VP was not favored to win late, but I thought they were favored to win the early and mid game. So, and you have to abuse those timings. And I think we're in almost the exact same situation, where I think if the game goes ultra late, LGD, PSG LGD, like have much more ways to just like win.
Yeah.
They push towers fast, they take objectives quickly, their team fight's easier to execute. I think Dro is fundamentally just a really good hero right now. Most of this tournaments come down to like, do you have a Dro solution?
Yeah.
And so I think in that regard, like, I prefer PSG LGD's draft. The way that VP can win, and we should always talk about this, is like the way that a team can win is you just all in assault in the early mid game. Run at them, take early fights, push down towers where you can with your Enigma, get him an early Helm of the Dom, let Roger do his own thing, get a fast Helm of the Dom, like power level him up essentially so that he can get tower hitters.
They've got really snowball heroes here, but Solo is going to come in from behind here. No one activates his Flame Guard. Also going to pop the Flame Guard as well. He does have a Sleight of Fist to be able to finish off maybe if he could just get that last shot in, and it is good enough to secure first blood.
Yeah, this is exactly what you need as a start. Be aggressive on the map at all times. Don't give PSG LGD's lineup time to breathe. That's how you beat it, because the amount of movement that they can make is sort of limited to this Storm Spirit. Like, the Storm Spirit has to connect to other lanes, so if you slow down his game, you can be successful. If you 5-man up early enough and just take, like, this guerrilla warfare style, like, we'll take fights non-stop, I think you'll also be successful with your lineup. But when it comes to, like, the ultra late / the later stages of the game, like, if you give PSG LGD an Aegis on the Storm, then I think the game becomes very hard.
And a large part of that has got to be down to this, one of the last picks here from LGD. They went for the Necrophos, which is definitely a greedier option when you already have the Storm and Drow Ranger. But VP, even though they're like the 1-to-1, there is a counter there where you don't feel good about playing the Ursa against this Necrophos. You're just talking about the pace of the game. You don't necessarily need the hero counters so much because so many of those were banned away. We have the Naga Siren ban, we have the Spectre ban. It's not a good sniper game. Like, those are the 3 cores that we saw matched up against Drow Ranger match. But there is a way just to be able to take the pace of the game against this lineup.
Yeah, and I think this is always really important to think about is it's not always does this hero counter everything, but it's also does this hero sort of fit stylistically in what we want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because they needed a Roche hitter, I think, to take away from the Storm's potential from being able to do it at all times. That's what I think they lacked a little bit. Like, their Roche taking ability, aside from dropping Shaman Wards, was kind of lackluster.
Bane is definitely one of the early fighters, but there is a lot of Eidolons here. Together with FY, they're going to try and go into Roger, who's been rather disruptive for this lane, and he's been pulling it back to the favor of that Ursa. Doesn't look like he should die here, but he's going to be forced away. Meanwhile, bottom lane, they do manage to get on top of this Drow Ranger. They have Solo with the double disables, and Pasha's just going to try and run him down as best as possible.
Yeah, I don't love
like
that
they couldn't dive.
I don't love that they just ditched him there. I don't think Dro can play against Brewmaster Lion.
No, that doesn't sound like a good lane.
Mid lane, he tries to dodge the Remnant.
Middle tower is under attack.
Missed it though, and took a lot of damage as a result.
Yeah, still a Storm-favored matchup, especially with the Drow Aura. Not nearly as bad in the early game anyways, when it used to be about the attack damage that you get.
Yeah.
The attack speed, you see it much better later on.
Solo trying to secure rooms for this Storm Spirit, or for the Ember Spirit rather.
I love that PSG LGD, the biggest takeaway was from this TI was just spam more voice lines than you previously did. That's what OG, that's the second meta that they set.
I mean, that's 2 different ways Ami's being a lot more aggressive. Both when it comes to taking towers and when it comes to spamming those voice lines.
They probably practiced it. Like, Ami just did that while he was harassing. As they're just all chatting him away, trying to break the focus of VP, who is down in this crucial best of 3 in the lower bracket.
And VP has said multiple times, like, they do not actually want to slow down that much, even though they've secured their ticket to TI.
Of course not. I don't buy into the narrative that they don't care about this tournament. All the best teams are left. Yeah. This is your one of your last chances to be able to say, like, we're the best team in the world. I think it's the next one that you chill on.
Yeah.
But on this one, there's still enough time between TI to establish your form, kind of go with the ideas that you have about Dota, figure out some heroes that you might think are on the up and up.
Bounty runes. Pasha manages to get both.
It looks like he's going for the creep wave. No. Back just going to TP out.
Yeah, there's decent amount of CS there that he was missing out on, so he wants to get back in the lane as quick as possible. Chalice has been doing relatively well for himself here, as kind of expected, but they're going to try and go into him now, and he's already built up a lot of Fury Swipes with the double disables. He doesn't get the chance to pop the Ghost Shroud.
This has been talked about ad nauseum, by the way, in other casts, but Solo is not your typical 5-position player. He's not sitting bottom, stacking and pulling waves, sitting there being passive. He's made the 2 big kills in this game happen on both cores.
Oh, they're going to go again. He just TP'd in. He cannot afford another death here, but it's going to be hard as they are able to dive the tower pretty quickly here. They're just going to keep going for Chalice, who's already built up so much damage. Every single swing is doing tons and tons. Chalice is going to go down here. Ramsey's quite low, but they do manage to get more stuns on X-Nova. Now he's just stuck in this tower area. Nobody, and this is the problem. The greed of the LGD lineup. You do not feel comfortable moving heroes out of these lanes.
Yes, and VP are doing exactly what they need to. Be aggressive at all times. PSG LGD's lineup, their rotations just aren't going to be as strong as yours with the types of heroes that they have. You have to stay aggressive at all times, carry this into the mid game, and just bludgeon them with being ahead in net worth. If you are going to win this game as VP, this is the start that you needed.
The Necrophos now with a Walk of Shame back to the lane.
The downside, though, is that
the
laning phase is still very good for the other 2 cores.
Yes.
Like, the Storm Spirit has had completely unchallenged farm, 45 CS at 6-7 minutes. That's absurd. The Dro in a similar situation, since this is the downside of Solo not being your traditional 5 position, is that he's not going to just sit there and want to harass somebody out of a lane.
Yeah.
He wants to fight. This guy wants to establish his early presence. He wants to be felt.
Chalice trying to take some of these Eidolons, but thanks to the Helmet Dominator, they can get some harassment damage on him. trying to ruin his game as much as possible. 4-0 lead for VP, but not much of a net worth lead. As you said, the other two lanes are going quite well for LGD. Drow Ranger and Storm Spirit pretty much free farming at this point. VP just trying to pick up the pace when it comes to taking lanes. They are going to have Lion rotate into mid, just do a little bit of harassment damage, but not much of it. It's going to come of it at this point. Trying to go on to Pasha here before he can actually get his Primal Split level 6. He's a ways away. They won't be able to kill him, but they do bring him pretty low. Chalice is done with that top lane. It seems they're going to give up on that safe lane tower.
East, this is a big rune, and I'd like to see them connect to somewhere else. Don't stop the aggression. We saw once he got the Helm of Dom on the Enigma, he takes that top tower. You want to just get everything you can out of the map. Going towards this bottom lane, I think, would be a huge win for them if they could kill Chalice again. This would completely slow down his game because heroes that don't have natural built-in teamfight abilities, they never like dying this many times in a row. Because they need the net worth advantage to really get their presence felt on the map, as they're going to run into the Nyx first. No one, though. He's on the chase.
Ignoring the Nyx assassin, going straight for the Necrophos, who's going to pop the Ghost Shroud, and they might be able to bring Solo a little bit low, but they're just going to be kited now by the Malefice, and there is going to be your core dead. They're going to turn back to FY and go for him now. He does have the Spike Carapace to buy him just the smallest bit of space, but doesn't hit the double impale, as no one using his haste ring to try and get in front of FY as much as possible. He doesn't have a disable. FY waving to him here. Solo is actually trying to, from the low ground, get some sort of disable out, but he's a bit too far away. No one forced to retreat as the Storm Spirit shows up. That right there is a big advantage of being the aggressors, right? They take that safe lane tower and are still able to defend their own with that really cool smoke move.
Yeah, I'd really like them, by the way, to be able to take mid next on VP before PSG LGD can take that bottom tower. That'd be where you can kind of hem the map in and make it really hard for the Dro, the Storm, and the Necrophos to just go for the jungle. And what that means is one of these cores has to commit to being in the lane, and that will open up the opportunities for you to get kills on the map.
Right.
It's by forcing two people to go to the jungle. Somebody feels like they have to open up the map somehow, and that's why Chalice continues to go to this bottom lane, and he continues to go to the lanes, because he already has two cores that want to farm out the jungle. This is the weakness of PSG LGD's lineup, in that it is very greedy.
Level 6 for the Brewmaster. PSG LGD are not able to fight here, so it looks like they're going to have to give away 3 Bounding Runes, unless, no, FY wasn't able to get it. Now for the low ground. This is the play that Solo was looking for earlier. Does manage to get the Impale on the Nyx Assassin, the Hex on Chalice, who's still not level 6. They're going to pop the Primal Split here. Nice Centaur stun. They get the follow-up. No one from LGD is showing up here anymore. They know this is not a fight they can take. They know this is a tower they can't defend.
Yeah, and if you notice, during this entire time, Ame is just farming the jungle. Like, this is what we mean about the difficulties of once you lose this top tower, once you get aggressive on the map, you can just sort of push the pace and make it very hard for them to keep up.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see he was farming the offlane jungle quite a bit, trying to do those Ancients. The Storm was farming up the jungle as well. As he sees all those heroes bottom, shows up in lane at top. The Storm Spirit was also pushing in mid during that time. Once they reveal, like once VP make their big move, that's when these other two cores can try and push out the other lanes.
Yeah, and it's still the top 2 cores in the game on PSG LGD because they farm neutral so fast, and we see a commitment from no one just going around the map, setting up for kills, setting up for tower pressures. So you have to continue to play at this pace, because the worst thing in the world for VP is to get into a farming war with this lineup. To slow down the pace intentionally, you don't really need items with the type of lineup that you have.
This is going to help a lot. Now that FY is level 6, being able to go invis and just see these rotations come across, right? LGD wants to be able to dodge a lot of these early fights. And they're actually maybe giving up a tower here, as Roger's going to try and make his way over here. Kills the Siege Wagon, gets the deny. Very well played by Roger. But I feel like that was simultaneously an unnecessary loss for VP.
Yeah, that was a tower that was at full HP, and they committed a lot to defending that. I know a lot of people think to themselves, like, what's the big deal? Like, it's just a bottom tier 1, but if you notice, like, when they actually made the kill happen towards bottom lane, they weren't able to take the tower themselves.
Yeah.
And so it feels like those kills end up not really changing the course of the game. And that's what matters in Dota, is these one-off kills, even though you're up 7k, you see the lead's only 1k. That's the beauty of Dota, is that the objectives will always just matter more.
The Ursa Going for a hand of minus here. It's a little bit surprising. Maybe that means because he's going to be spending so much time running around going for kills, that he wants something that can help him farm as well.
1 second faster than this patch's average.
They are going to be able to find top lane. Finger of Death laid out, helping to get the kill. A big one at that on maybe Storm Spirit. Now with maybe Storm Spirit down, as you said it, they're going to push mid.
I'd like everybody to come here right now.
Yeah, Pasha's going to make sure to TP in right now. He has Primal Split. This completely dissuades LGD from taking a fight, but they may still go for it if they see the right kind of opening, but that's not the opening they wanted. Great silence push back there. That'll help save FY's life, but a good slight change into the Centaur Sun as well. Chalice is trying to keep these heroes alive and trying to frontline, but they just run right past him, and as LGD is pushed back, they turn back into Chalice and quickly kill.
Storm's coming with the DD.
Now the blind going out for the TP in. They catch him as he TPs out. They're going to be able to get one stem. Now the chains, and he's dead. He just died at top, comes back in, dies again. A blistering pace being picked up by Virtus Pro as LGD.
Oh, this is beautiful. I love when they do this move. They do this in every game. If they take your mid tier 1 tower and your top tier 1 and they have a way to Roche, they'll always do it. They've done this with Juggernaut, they've done this with Ursa every single time they have this hero. This is how you set a tempo. But they're going to want to fight this on PSG LGD.
I'm not sure if they can get there in time. They have the scan, but no one is really close. There is just the Nyx Assassin who was in the neighborhood. That is an Aegis, and he just picked up Hand of Midas, and he's going to be able to pick up his Blink Dagger in just a minute. So this is, like, his Hand of Midas is not going to slow down his timing really at all.
This is so well done by PSG LGD. As we watch the replay again, it's Roger's positioning too, and his micro on his creep blew this fight open. You see right here, the Centaur Stomp makes it so awkward. They're all gathered up. No one's positioning over the top.
And I love how they like push him back and then just go right back into Chalice, just
look
surrounding
at this.
him.
Just the immediate black hole pop. Storm has no chance to cancel, and he had a DD rune. That's the reason why he TP'd in the first place. Maybe most likely told his team, "I've got DD rune. I'm gonna just destroy this fight."
Yeah. Soon a Maelstrom for no one, so his farm is really going to start picking up, and you can see those cores on the VP side are beginning to eclipse LGD as they're now 4,000 net worth ahead. Drow Ranger is still ahead of everybody just because of the speed at which he can farm up that jungle. And oh, look at that, another Hand of Midas actually. Pasha is going to go back for it, so even though their lineup is meant to be aggressive, they're supposed to take the early tempo, they're still trying to secure some of their later game with these early Hand of Midas pickups.
Yeah, and it's just the experience that they need, because they know that it's most likely just Ame farming nonstop.
Yeah.
And you don't want your course to get behind against Zero, because I think the best thing that she does is she has the ability to 1v5 later on with very minimal items.
Trying to go for the Hurricane Pike against some of these melee cores like the Ursa. I mean, that's going to be a lot of Ramsey's job, is just being able to blanky get on top of the Drow Ranger. And take the tier 1 bottom and keep pushing. They're the ones with the Aegis right now. They're going to dare LGD to try and stop them. LGD, wise enough to know this is not a fight they want to take. They just spread up all around the map, just trying to split push as much as possible. Won't really be able to take any objectives. And look at this, VP is going to dare LGD once more. You must fight us at some point. We're going to go for the high ground. We're going to force all of you back. We'll see what happens from there.
I think they're just trying to bring them back to the base.
Yeah.
I'd be somewhat surprised if they actually decided to all-in commit this early on.
It would take, I think, a pretty big mispositioning blunder from LGD.
X-Nova, he's found somebody.
Oh, what is this positioning from X-Nova? Sneaking around in the back line, trying to catch somebody as they retreat, but VP is not that too far away. They're going to make the long jump in from Maybe, trying to go on. The Bane actually does side of the Finger of Death, but now that means Solo's going to be caught up as Maybe runs him down too. Double kill, out of mana though. A great little pickup by LGD. They were forced to TP back to their base, yes, but it all comes worth it if you can get the kills like that.
I think part of that too is that the Ursa showed for a brief second when he went towards that top lane and disengaged, and that was PSG LGD's chance to say, let's run at them, take advantage of this. VP did something very similar in last game. Whenever anybody shows and you're ready for the 5-on-5 and they're not, the numbers advantage is what will negate your net worth disadvantage.
Yeah.
Because with the Ursa out of the fight, that's 8k that VP just loses, plus his abilities.
Yeah, and his Aegis. Arcane Boots and straight mech for Chalice.
Oh, look at this. The instant D ward.
No.
Never feels good.
That definitely does not feel good for LGD because they're already being hemmed in. They're having to sit behind their tier 2s right now. Now an aggressive move, going straight for challenge, trying to blow him up. FY trying to intercept with his spike. Carapace does manage to stall up the Ember Spear's damage, but the Ghost Round's gonna fade eventually, and challenge is gonna be found here. Diving in, FY, they're gonna go for him next. Should be able to just chain disable him. 2 kills for Virtus Pro as they surround this mid-tier 2 tower. One of the last remaining towers for LGD.
Pasha's ult just makes this so hard for them to fight right now. And he's playing these fights so perfectly.
Look at Solo in his positioning. Maybe he's going to be able to come in here, taking away the Aegis of the Ursa.
Roger wants the ulti.
LGD, they result back to the high ground. Roger's trying to go back and forth here, but he's just being kited by the Frost Arrows. And now Ame, with that Hurricane Pike, will be able to get away from the Ursa. They're going to wait out the end in range. The Nightmare, it'll fade eventually, and they're just going to continue to get those Frost Arrows. Oh, the Challenge Reaper sight! Not going to be good enough to kill Pasha yet, but the Impale should be enough to finish him off, and the Ursa dies as well. A huge fight for LGD as VP and all their aggression got them ahead in this game. But now it cost them control. And it's a dead even game once again.
Because of the Ursa's Aegis, they just go for the dive thinking, well, there's no way we can lose the fight. But the game is early on enough where everyone just respawns really quickly. And now you don't have Pasha's ulti. And despite winning this game for 18 minutes, I think with this tower, they're actually going to be behind in net worth. Actually just about ahead. Yeah. Which is insane to think about. Because a second ago, PSG LGD only had 1 kill on the map.
Nightmare. Fiend's grip up. Nobody's nearby. This is a guaranteed kill on an Ember Spear. PSG LGD is now ahead and is now definitely winning this game. What a swift turnaround. 1 blunder by VP is all it takes.
They needed to stomp this early in mid-game, and they were until that 1 error. And it's because their lineup can't continue to chase.
Yeah.
Nobody can follow the Ursa in like that. You saw Ame's positioning. He's hanging out by a tier 3 tower with a Hurricane Pike. There's no hero that can get on top of him on the side of VP, aside from the Ember Spirit. But he doesn't have the defensive item to feel comfortable enough to commit all 3 remnants because she'll just Hurricane Pike and reset that fight.
And the fact that they hadn't finished off the tier 2 means that Chalice was able to TP in and basically sandwich VP. A good gust from the Drow Ranger will allow LGD to get back.
FY should know about that sentry.
Yeah, he died to that sentry, or lost his ward to the sentry earlier.
Young JJ, pull up the graph. Let's see it. For the most of the game, aside from like that 1 brief moment at the 5-minute mark.
Anamitis, I mean, Pasha has been building that one for a while and only just now picks it up. Yeah, 4.5 minutes lower than average.
All they had to do, I think, in that position was hit the tier 2.
Yes.
There was no way that PSG LGD wanted to fight head-on. Ame was hanging out by a tier 3. That's how you knew he wasn't going to risk anything. But the fight came to him perfectly. He got a 3-man silence off. Pasha doesn't have ulti, so he has no way to gap close. That's the big part about this Brew ulti, is in the mid-game it makes you feel invincible. Because you know that your Brew can just walk in for free. Behind enemy lines, and there's no opportunity cost to that.
And now we're gonna have just a big difference in items from last fight to the next one. Guardian Greaves almost complete. For Chalice, we're gonna have the Bloodstone for the Storm Spirit as well. I'm not sure what Ame has, because he had the Hurricane Pike earlier, so I'm sure he's moving on to the next item.
VP have to go for a smoke again around all their ulti timings. It looks like they're waiting for the BKB on Ramses, but I feel like this slows down your game a lot. Now that you have to wait another 1,000 gold. You don't want to have to be dependent on these items to take fights, but I think unfortunately because of the last situation, you sort of have to. And that's why we favored LGD's lineup, because you can't expect VP to play perfect Dota and run that aggression nonstop.
Good gank on the Helmet Dominator creep. Netting maybe an extra 200 gold.
They still can definitely win though.
They're going to be able to find X-Nova.
They have very good teamfight ultis to be able to come back into this game. They have good control for the Storm in solo. So it's not like the game is over. It's just unfortunate as to where it's gone now.
FY just fearless. He just keeps on running through that sentry over and over and over again. And VP keep on running towards him, but... And he's always out of range. Oh, missed the spike carapace. Is still going to get some damage onto Pasha and burn him out of mana, I guess.
He's just poking around.
Yeah.
He did force everybody to come to...
It worked.
To Pasha, because I think they assumed the only reason you would do that is if there was like a storm zipping through and a Necro about to come over the top with an ulti.
Yeah. Pretty smart. Lotus Orb next for the Necrophos.
As a butterfly is almost now completed on Ame. This is going to counter the heavy physical damage lineup that VP have.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
This really hurts the Ursa.
Yeah. I mean, he's already has a bit of trouble because we don't have this, like, blink, you know, Abyssal Blade sort of build where you just get on top of him and bash him to death. It's already a struggle to be able to get close to that Drow Ranger. The Hurricane Pike. Now, even if you do, there's going to be a lot of that evasion coming into play. Look at FY. It's just, he knows his job really well. As soon as he got his level 6, he starts positioning himself super aggressively and giving his team just the knowledge of where VP is and the ability to break those smokes.
Yeah, I know a lot of fans hate when their teams pick like Nyx first 2, but this is part of the reason why you do so. It's because you can put so much pressure on the enemy team. In professional Dota, breaking smokes is such a big deal, but they might actually
close that distance. Chalice is going to be in trouble here. Chain disables, Finger of Death goes out, but he has the Guardian Grease to be able to help him out a lot. The BKB activated by Ramses, though, and this is sure to make sure this fight is definitely going to go the way to VP. As they run down one core, going to be able to catch FY. They can run back over to the Bane, who was... Oh, they're going to go in for the Evan Spirit. He got found out. He gets isolated from his team.
You need to get out on VP.
They're going to try and come back in. Now, Chalice did TP in with double buybacks here. Virtus Pro, a mass retreat. Ramses, oh! What a TP away from him. A close call, but does get out.
And not the worst situation at all for VP because 2 buybacks were expended. As FY still on the hunt. He's going to run into solo here. Is there a follow-up?
There is going to be a jump from the Storm Spirit to ensure the kill.
Maybe they go Rosh now.
Yeah, possibly.
I think if you don't kill the Lion, you might not go for the Rosh, but look how quick this is.
It is dying so fast. Aegis, Cheese, what a big difference this next fight is going to be now. Is that Necrophos is going to be, or excuse me, the Storm Spirit. You can't really burst him down. He's got Bloodstone Cheese. Aegis on the Drow. LGD, finally they can play a lot more aggressively. We've seen them kind of reacting to VP's aggression, but with that sort of play.
And a critical pickup for the Storm too. Building that BKB. This is his only dies if he gets Black Hole item. And solo, it's hard for them to protect him unless they commit the Black Hole. And there are multiple ways for them to cancel and get on top of him.
FY. Vendetta, Spike Carapace is going to be able to buy him some time out of here, and that big mistake from Roger. The double chainsaw on the side. If they can get on top of these heroes, maybe to be okay, but Ramsey's already taken so much damage. Pops BKB, trying to finish up this Drow Ranger, but that is going to be the Aegis. Meanwhile, that is a permanent death unless we buy back, and that's going to be Brewmaster and Enigma trying to TP on the shrines and join this.
They get the silence.
Just keeps on poking him, but he's been silenced up. He's taking so much physical damage, but LGD, very cool, just holding on to their high ground, knowing VP, they blew these buybacks, and they can't actually get into LGD for a second round.
I love that move by PSG LGD. Just back up.
Yeah.
Reset the fight. You know that there's a Brew ulti and an Enigma Black Hole. Both of those guys committed buyback. Why risk the fight at that point? Now you put all the pressure on a VP. They committed two buybacks, 1 core buyback. It really slows down the Brew game. Who, I mean, he's significantly behind everybody else, even with this Midas. And VP, I was wondering when their lineup would start to kind of run into this issue. And here it is.
A bit earlier than VP was expecting, that's for sure. Is that one team fight cost them so much control. The Roshan, another big problem. I mean, this is an Ursa lineup after all. It thrives on being able to pick up Aegis after Aegis.
Yeah, what PSG LGD is doing is, in the drafts, they're making it so that they're just slightly outgreed VP. Because they know, every team knows that VP just loves the team fight. They love to be able to bludgeon you in team fights, take these little leads that add up so quickly, and then just end the game. So PSG LGD is making sure with their lineups that at some point they can fight.
Look at VP, they're playing on the high ground right now. If LGD committed for that kill on Ursa, it would be a terrible fight for them. So they do actually make the read back up. And now going to try and play around their vision. They're going to go for the Enigma. They have the chain disables. They have the silence as well. The Enigma is dead. No buyback there. Phase grip in the back line. A beautiful one.
Somebody stop him.
Controlling up Ramses. He finally does get unleashed and managed to get off the enrage, but he's already taken up so much damage. He will fall as the Stormseer runs him down. He's going to try and go for no one as well. No one does have the escape, but Pasha may not as he does come back in. But doesn't have a blink. He does have a TP though, and it looks like they were just off the mark. They reveal him with the courier, which was a cool play, but they didn't have the disable ready to go.
That was so well done by Xnova. His team fight positioning, he was so far to the left that no one could stop him from Fiend's gripping onto that Ursa, who just wastes his BKB as a result. And the wherewithal to like figure out, oh, okay, the Enigma has shown himself, and if I go on the Enigma, there's absolutely no way that I can get stopped.
Yeah.
Maybe pops the BKB, gets the back line, and I was hoping that fight would be closer just for my entertainment's sake, but PSG, LGD, they just layered their team fight too well.
Yeah,
they're so decisive with how they're fighting too.
Hame, look at this build.
Yeah, going for the Satanic so that he can fight up nonstop. And also for the status resistance against all these heroes, I think is also really effective. And just getting more HP on these heroes to make them like, you don't really think about it. It's like they're stealthily very tanky. You've got 2,500 HP on this Storm, 2,300 HP on this Drow Ranger. Even if you disable them, you need to lay everything into them.
Yeah. I mean, VP is so burst-oriented. Meanwhile, LGD should eventually win the fight with these heroes like Necrophos and Storm Spirit. As long as they just can kind of survive through most of it and don't get a massive black hole. I guess that's the other big turnaround. That's the real hope for VP is that they do have this incredible team fight in the Enigma and the black hole.
I still think VP can do it. It's just like every successive team fight like that, it gets harder and harder because the Drow Ranger is so good against everybody on VP's lineup.
Yeah. Oh, successful scan from PSG LGD. But you notice this is a big difference for them. They feel pretty confident about how far they are right now, and they're willing to stick around and play for these bounty runes and see if VP come off of their high ground.
They do have a blink on this Enigma. This could be what blows open the game as they're going to run into each other now.
Chalice is going to be spotted here, looking to be able to burst him down as quick as possible. A great Nightmare comes out from Xnova. The burst damage, ring of death, it is almost going to be enough. Xnova actually with the Fiend Script, Chalice getting away. Double force stabbed away. No one heavily committing to be able to finish off Chalice here with the BKB activated. They also have to top it to the Drow Ranger. Now Ame is super tanky, but it doesn't matter too much to an Ursa, who just builds up the damage to be able to finish him off. Now no one did jump to the back line. He already finished off the Enigma. Now it looks like he's just trying to hide away, look for a safe spot to be able to TP out or maybe pop out and farm some creeps again. Because this is no longer a fight they can take. Xnova does manage to get the Nightmare here, but no one will catch him eventually. Xnova will add a third kill to VP's successful team fight.
Very, very well done. And that all starts with them having to commit so much to saving Chalice. And the BKB from the Ember Spirit, it finally allows him to play Dota, because in every other fight, he was just getting silenced and popped in 3 hits.
Yeah.
Now he has the ability to follow up his Ursa. You've got a Blink Dagger on the Ursa too, whereas before he didn't have it, he was just slowly walking towards the Drow Ranger. And she had to commit her Hurricane Pike to saving Chalice. Yeah. Like, that was the perfect situation for Virtus Pro. They take such good advantage of that. And both these teams, what they're so good at is, if you make a mistake, if you waste an item, everyone's hyper aware of that.
And what do you think that mistake was in that team fight? Like, what happened that VP was finally able to just kind of like run over LGD?
They weren't able to find the Enigma. That was the big thing, is that
it took a while. No one had to commit, or excuse me, maybe had to like jump and jump.
Roger changed his positioning because he understands that he's so vulnerable, and that he's the counter to the Storm and all these BKBs, that if he gets caught out to start the fight is over.
Yeah.
It's very easy to kite from there on out. So this time, they start the jump. Roger's hidden the entire time with his Blink Dagger, and even when he dies there and he has to waste his Black Hole, it doesn't really matter because the job has been done.
Yeah.
His team was able to catch the back line, and they were finally able to get on top of these heroes. Plus, once the Force Staff or the Hurricane Pike is committed to saving Chalice, he's dead. Yeah. There's no real way to save him after, and the Dro has also used her escape mechanism, and she can't 1v4 against the Bruce split, the Ursa running at her. There's just too many things that run on top of her. Still a difficult fight for VP to win, but this is what a successful team fight has to look like.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many ideal situations there, especially them being able to get so close, just the proximity of their heroes. They got right on top.
That was well done, though, because they knew they were going to be at that bounty rune. Yeah. That was their gamble. That completely paid off.
Even just Pasha's little play where he plays up into the trees.
Yes.
Where he basically gets in melee range when he finally pops out during that bounty
rune. So well done
by
VP.
5-man smoke, though, from LGD. Yes, they lost the last team fight, but they're still 5,000 net worth up. And if they could, especially if they could secure another Roshan, I'm not sure how VP could contest that.
Yeah. Right now, it's the game of can we find the Enigma versus VP's can we get to the back line.
Yeah.
This is what the game has sort of boiled down to in the simplest terms. And that's always the coolest part is like, once you realize what the win conditions are for both teams, how both decide to adjust. Because in the previous game, they were like, we just have to protect our supports, and the game is really easy. And VP realized that like really early on, and it took PSG LGD a second to sort of catch on to how VP was going to take the fights. And now it's the same thing where if VP can make the correct adjustment, maybe they can still pull this rabbit out of the hat.
I think they saw Roger for a moment there, and that's why the Stormseer is going to jump, trying to go him, but immediately gets hexed up. Now the two-man stun as well. The Finger of Death onto this Stormspirit, but he does have a Bloodstone as well as a double damage, and they are wary to be able to fight LGD right now. The BKB has been used, and VP, knowing that, are going to go back in and see if they can be able to catch some heroes. The Force Staff doesn't actually get him over this high ground. He's going to be stuck here until another Force Staff breaks down. That's long enough for Ramses to be able to get on top of Ame. A good Fiend's Grip, a Black Hole going down, instantly canceled though, as despite Carapace about Reaper side cutting him down, but not good enough. Now the jump in, they're going to go for Roger. They do manage to take him out, but at the same time, the Dro Ranger's dead, doesn't have a buyback. Bane's dead as well, and the Storm Spirit, Necrophone's getting beat bashed up. They immediately get the Hex down. The Storm Spirit ignore the Necrophones, kill the Storm, and they do get him. And now, Chalice, let's just run him down eventually here, because LGD, they don't have any buybacks whatsoever. Trying to go for the DP away, but he gets it! No way! No bashes from the Ursa. A little bit of luck there. LGD does manage to survive on Chalice, but still a huge win for VP.
You saw right there, PSG LGD, they see the Enigma for half a second, they all in commit, and everyone from VP gathers up around him. And it was the Storm not committing the BKB there.
Yeah.
That's what cost them that. It was the Storm not committing BKB. If you commit BKB, you all in with your DD on that Enigma, he dies, you win this team fight. And it's Chalice. He missed Force Staffs. He forces Ame to then use his Force Staff. And at that point, Ramses very smartly knows that both Force Staffs have been committed. He all-ins for the Dro Ranger. She has no way to escape him. They have to be better about this.
Yeah.
Chalice can't be caught in those positions and maybe has to be more willing to just BKB all-in on the Enigma.
Don't be greedy on your jumps. I mean, we got to give props to Solo as well.
Oh,
how fast was that Hex? It was like he was pre-casting an area.
Yeah, because so I think he realized the Enigma has been spotted.
Yeah.
This is he is the #1 fugitive, most wanted man. Roger is public enemy #1. If you kill him in these fights, it becomes really hard for VP to win. That's why VP has made the correct adjustment. Protect this man at all costs. The threat of his black hole alone will win you the fight. And Ame has to adjust. You just have to let Chalice die there. Yeah. Every time he's used his Force Staff to try to bail that Necro out, he's died. Because Ramses makes the read, I'm going to go in. You see right here, the instant Hex.
Oh, so fast. And it just turns out he gets a really good impale to follow that up, and the fight's over from there.
Yes.
Like, once maybe he's forced to use his BKB and he's low like that, that's where the Ember Spirit jumps in.
I think you just let Chalice die here. He misses, he doesn't get on top of the low ground from there. But watch right here. Ame bails him out with the Force Staff, and instantly Ramses responds by jumping on top of him.
Yeah, he could have blinked sooner. He could have blinked on top of Chalice, but he knew, I want that real back line. I don't care about Necrophos with this Aeon Disc and all this healing. I need that Drow Ranger every time.
If that fight, in ideal situation, PSG LGD admit they messed up. They're like, okay, whatever. Our Storm at least lived. We lose our Nyx Assassin and our Necrophos. That's fine. Yeah. Just reset. But it's their unwillingness to lose any hero that's really costing them here. And I really feel like if the Storm just... I don't think he expected that fast of a reaction, but while you touch down, you pop your DD rune and your BKB, there's nothing that the Enigma can do. And at that point, the fight is completely won in your favor.
Yeah, they don't have the Abyssal Blade yet for the Ursa, so they have no BKB piercing guaranteed disable.
Yes. And with the DD rune, he kills him real quick.
Yeah. As it is, though, that Abyssal Blade is going to be coming in soon. The Necrophos with the Aeon Disc feels pretty important because the last couple of fights, you know, he's been bursted down so quickly. This would very much slow down VP's momentum in an engagement.
And VP, I mean...
There it is, the Abyssal Blade, MKB. 5-second BKB, and he's actually the one holding on to the Refresher Shard.
Yeah, VP, though, are so insane at taking advantage of mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, that is... This is how they make all those, like, whenever they play a lesser team, they make them look so much worse than they are. Because they just exploit you at every turn. Everyone is hyper aware of how the team fights are supposed to take place. They know when something's been used. That's why you saw Ramses with that instant reaction on top of that Draw Ranger. You think he makes that play if he doesn't realize that the Force Staff's instantly been used?
Yeah, for sure.
And now a Hex for the Storm Spirit. He wants the instant jump. Game is still relatively even. VP have dragged it back in their favor.
Win this fight, I mean, I guess they do have two different BKB piercing disables. I'm just thinking, like, does Roger really want the Guardian Grease? What about straight for the BKB? And yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. If the Bane and or the Necrophos has to blow their ultimate to stop this black hole.
Yeah, well worth it for them.
Absolutely. I mean, just the proximity of these heroes forced to get close to stop the black hole.
And they want to use this Aegis Cheese. They're waiting for somebody to show up, and that's going to be Chalice, but not the target that they necessarily want to go for. With his Aeon Disc, really hard to pop. Now everyone building a Hex. They're gearing up for the late game here.
Seem like they're a bit low to try and back up and defend this tier 2, but Ramses finally does.
Ramses has picked up a big item too. The finishing of the Abyssal Blade makes life just much more dangerous. That's one of my favorite combos, being able to Abyssal Blade, then come over the top with the Enigma's BKB Black Hole. It makes it really hard now for Maybe to play. And now he's lost his window where he can just burst the Enigma without having to commit as...
Silence goes out, and one Force Staff being used to try and save X-Nova here. The BKB being popped by no one does give PSG LGD an advantage in future fights as long as they don't die. And sure enough, they do escape cleanly.
A Lotus Orb, by the way, on the Brew. That's what we saw earlier when the Enigma got gone on in that engagement. And now the BKB finished. They're completing so many items.
These Hand-of-Midases are beginning to pay off. Pasha's game was definitely stalled up at one point, but now
they just
going to have a full bounties. AC.
They just picked up 4 bounty runes too.
Yeah.
So PSG LGD, 2 terrible team fights in a row leads to and 2 beautiful team fights in a row by VP. Give them all the credit in the world for how quickly they were able to respond.
Crazy roller coaster of a game, really proving that sometimes, you know, you have certain ideas about the drafts, but it's the play in the game and how you take these fights. It can be all important. Pasha can pick up his plate mail and finish up the AC with a recipe, but he's going to continue to show himself bottom lane while the rest of his team makes a sneaky little maneuver.
They won't expect this because the Aegis is down.
Into the jungle, they're going to run into Maybe, though, who did have the vision, is able to get the Abyssal Blade after the jump. The Hex follow-up, a Nightmare might just save it until no, the burst damage comes in. What an insane interaction. It's this picture perfect there. They got the Abyssal Blade at the same time as he made the jump away.
Didn't jump far enough.
Insane. Lincoln's now complete for the Ember Spirit, but a pick off on that Storm Spirit. They want to force him into a buyback here.
And maybe it looked like he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, he had the right positioning. He was laying down remnants for vision and everything. But no
a little bit too greedy with the zip, and
there's the buyback. Will Virtus Pro back up? There's a long zip in from Storm Spirit, just doing some good initial damage. And the TP's away. Well, Soul actually canceling his. Apparently the team makes the call that they want to stay in this area. The Ember Spirit can leave because he can always jump to his Spirit.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And that's probably a good call too. At no point do you want to give up control. If you're VP, you are just sitting right outside. A momentary glimpse back in time.
That's, I mean, it's not irrelevant. That was what the fight that got them back in this position.
Yeah.
I wanted to see the range abyssal.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they're going to be able to throw up there. 13,000 net worth lead for VP right now, 27-15, 42 minutes in.
Oh.
We are definitely going the distance here in this game too, and maybe going the distance in this series.
I hope
if Virtus Pro can pull out the win.
I could do with another one of these games.
Yeah, me too.
Give me a game 3. Now we're gonna see it.
We're gonna see it again.
He sees them for a while too.
Just at the same time. Just insane. There's no way he should have been caught by that abyssal. And even if he somehow did, if he just made a longer jump, he couldn't have gotten away.
Yeah.
But I mean, that again, props to VP for reacting so quickly. Yeah, maybe they got a little bit lucky. Ice Frog was fiddling in the system a bit to help out VP.
Was it luck?
But
It was a good smoke. Plus, I want a game 3, so
yeah.
I'm down for stuff like that happening.
But LGD don't want that. It's probably been an exhausting game 1 and game 2 already. And that's why they're going to go for the aggressive maneuver here. The 5-man smoke out. Drow Ranger actually popping her own smoke just to push in this mid lane. VP, this time it's their turn to be cautious. Why is this Drow Ranger pushing out so far?
She's been scared the entire time.
Yeah.
Nobody's been showing on the map.
There's got to be a reason for this. Pasha, he'll go ahead and show himself, feeling confident that he's tanking up, but maybe he's not. He brought the Lotus Orb, but he's taking so much damage. The Axe goes down. The Reaper side brings him down. Immediately buys back, though. Oh, the Abyssal Blade. He actually got on the structure. Maybe he is able to make one more jump, though. So instead, he turns for the Nyx. As Azul Scepter helps him. There is the Black Hole. The Fiend's Grip used to stop that one. The Amethyst buying Chalice a lot of time. Meanwhile, though, they are able to finish off this Bane. Ramsey's being kind of rough. The second Black Hole. The BKB Refresher Shard coming into play. Securing the fight. Now LGD on the ropes. Forced to buy back. FY being spotted by Solo is able to get the Hex to start things off. The follow-up disables from no one as well. Prepping the Finger of Death, ready to let it go. Now he can pop it if he wants to, but he wants to keep that extra damage for the next fight. And that next fight could be the end here for LGD in game 2, as they're going to have no buybacks left at this rate.
Pushing down towards the bottom. They want this to be their final march. They used the buyback onto Pasha to make this happen. The Storm gonna zip, trying to kill the creep wave, the instant glyph.
It's looking good for VP, but at the same time, it's so hard to push high ground against the Storm Spirit. The 2-man silence out from the Drow Rangers, a good way to be able to push him back. The Lotus Orb helping things a lot. Ramsey's very low. The Ember Spirit just like that. Now Ramsey's being controlled. LGD kind of around. Oh, he's going to go for the kill on the air. He does manage to get it before he dies. VP, this time it's their time to lose a fight. LGD do successfully hold. Don't lose the second lane of Rax. It costs them so many buybacks.
And there's no buyback now on Pasha.
Yeah.
If there's an opportunity to take towers, they only lost one hero. He doesn't really contribute. You can gather up and take a lot of real estate right now.
Can they actually do more? Can they actually, for example, take
all
Roshan?
The buybacks?
It just spawned.
It's going to be a 4-on-4. Roshan is up and available for both teams. They don't have Black Hole, though, on the Enigma, but still VP want to fight this. They don't want to give this up for free, but if they lose this fight, this could be so critical as Ame going to pick up an Arcane Rune to couple with his cooldown talent.
I think this is fine for VP in their heads. As long as Roshan isn't being taken, it's great.
Yes.
Because I don't know if they could take a fight without Black Hole, honestly.
This is just their way of scaring them off. The threat should be alone.
They're not that scared. They may not be taking Roshan right now, but they took a tier 2, and they still have 45 seconds to work with.
Yeah, and that was an 11k lead, cut down to 5 for a second. But looks like they want to commit to this Roshan anyways. It's likely that Virtus Pro had used the smoke. I think that's the assumption that PSG LGD is going off of. And with the racks down and the position that they're in, I think they just have to play for the win. Their Nyx is about to be up too.
Jump in. Roshan dropping low. But the Ember Spirit does have a Spirit in. He's going to jump in now. Pop his BKB. Immediately LGD retreat. Thinking VP is not going to be able to commit to take that Roshan. And it looks like they're right too. Chalice just gets some vision inside of the pit to make sure Roshan's still okay.
And now FY's coming in. They
do manage to get the defensive play. 1-4 staff being used. Another one to be able to get onside the other side of the paint, but the Roshan goes down. Aegis is able to pick up by the Storm Spirit. Where's the hole? The Drown Ranger, the black hole. Look at it go. Controlling him out the feet grip on the outside of the pit. Nave just keeps on nailing them. 2 dead. 150 seconds of the Lion. And LGD one more. They've got 5 up. If they could just catch more. Ramses, no. He completes the TP. If he had died there, in my head, there's no doubt LGD has just won the game, but maybe VP in a 4 versus 5, maybe they can still hold some.
They committed so much to slowing down that Aegis.
They have a black hole VP. They're just
from the
is able to get the Hex to start things off. The follow-up disables from no one as well. Prepping the Finger of Death, ready to let it go. Now he can pop it if he wants to, but he wants to keep that extra damage for the next fight. And that next fight could be the end here for LGD in Game 2, as they're going to have no buybacks left at this rate.
pushing down towards the bottom. They want this to be their final march. They used the buyback on the Pasha to make this happen. The Storm gonna zip, try to kill the Creeper with the instant glyph.
It's looking good for VP, but at the same time, it's so hard to push high ground against the Storm Spirit. The two-man style tap from the Drow Rangers is a good way to be able to push him back. The Loaded Sword helping things along. Ramsey's very low. The other and he cores it just like that. Now Ramsey being controlled. LGD kind of rounded. Oh, he's gonna go for the kill on the other side. Does manage to get it before he dies. VP, this time it's their time to lose a fight. LGD do successfully hold, don't lose the second lane of Brax. It costs them so many buybacks.
And there's no buyback now on Pasha.
Yeah.
If there's an opportunity to take towers, they only lost one hero. He doesn't really contribute. You can gather up and take a lot of real estate right now.
Can they actually do more? Can they actually, for example,
all the buybacks?
It just spawned.
It's going to be a 4-on-4. Roshan is up and available for both teams. They don't have Black Hole though on the Enigma, but still VP want to fight this. They don't want to give this up for free, but if they lose this fight, this could be so critical as Ame gonna pick up an Arcane Rune to couple with his cooldown talents.
I think this is fine for VP in their heads. As long as Roshan isn't being taken, it's great.
Yes.
Because I don't know if they could take a Black Hole, a fight without Black Hole, honestly.
This is just their way of scaring them off.
LGD, though, they're not that scared. They may not be taking Roshan right now, but they took a tier 2, and they still have 45 seconds to work with.
Yeah, and that was an 11k lead, cut down to 5 for a second. But it looks like they want to commit to this Roshan anyways. It's likely that Virtus Pro had used the smoke. I think that's the assumption that PSG LGD is going off of. And with the racks down and the position that they're in, I think they just have to play for the win.
So Nix is about to be on to jump in. Roshan dropping low. The Ember Spirit does have a Spirit in. He's going to jump in now. Pop his BKB. Immediately LGD retreat. Thinking VP is not going to be able to commit to take that Roshan. And it looks like they're right too. Chalice just gets some vision inside of the pit to make sure Roshan's still okay. And now FY's coming in. They managed to get the defensive play. 1-4 snap being used. Another black hole. Get on top of the other side of the pit, but the Roshan goes down. Aegis, he's able to pick up on the Sun Spirit. Roshan right through the black hole. Look at it go. Controlling him out the beat from the outside of the pit. Nave just keeps on nailing them. 2 dead. 150 seconds of the Lion. And LGD one more. They've got 5 up. If they could just catch one. Ramses, no. He completes the TP. If he had died there, in my head, there's no doubt LGD has just won the game, but maybe VP in a 4 versus 5, maybe they can still hold somehow. They don't have the black hole now, and things get real complicated when you don't have black hole against PSG LGD's lineup, and that's why they're just going for the high ground. BKB still on cooldown too. They've got to be careful for this. VP, they committed so much to slowing down that Aegis. They have the primal split, yes, but they don't have the black hole. VP, they're just poking right now. But how many buildings are they willing to give up at this point? How long can they wait for this line to come back? And the Hex now completed from the Storm. This is such a useful tool for them to jump in, blow up one of these cores. They know that 5x are low. Invincible Sargent isn't here right now, but the Void Staff again being able to save Ave. Now they jump in. They are going to be able to get the Reaper strike, trying to focus on Ramsey. Does manage to get the cheese off. He's going to be okay. But the lockdown in the Ember Spirit, he's not. He's set for 2 minutes in LGD. Now they see the game in hand. All they have to do is keep this 5-man running off of the throne. They're just going to go straight for the throne. And somehow, Virtus Pro, they have to be able to pull a win out of this. Otherwise, they're knocked out of the tournament. But 1 tier 4 already down. LGD chopping down building after building. A black close up from Roger, though. PSG LGD, they're aware of that. They're going to keep their positioning. They keep a nice spread. Another tier 4 down. Throne is dying fast. They make their jump to the right-hand side. But the Throne is still fighting. He's going to go for the black hole. But the Brewmaster, he's going to be dying there. Just focusing on these heroes. It's Ramses is going to be caught in this. The Frost Heroes keeping him kind of around. And that is it. No one calling the GG. Virtus Pro are eliminated by LGD. What a game. Team fight after team fight, real determinant. It was that hold in that bottom lane that did, and the decision to all in. The Storm getting the Aegis was so critical for that. Incredible. Virtus Pro looked like they were going to be able to clinch this towards the end, but a great hold from LGD. And finally, their late game really kicked into play and showing in style. They may have lost to Vici Gaming. They may have lost to Secret, but here in the lower bracket, they're coming alive. That had to, it was a 2-0 score, and that's all people will see. But this had to be one of the most is dead. No buyback there. Face grip in the backline. A beautiful one. Somebody stop him. Controlling up Ramses. He finally does get unleashed and managed to get off the enrage, but he's already taken up so much damage. He will fall as the Stormtear runs him down. He's going to try and go for BP, knowing that are going to go back in.
have to
see
fight.
if they can be able to catch some heroes. The Force Staff doesn't actually get him over this high ground. He's going to be stuck here until another Force Staff brings him down. That's long enough for Ramses to be able to get on top of Ame. A good Fiend's Grip. A Black Hole going down instantly canceled though. It's the Spike Carapace that also found Reaper Sides cutting him down, but not good enough. And now the jump in. They're going to go for Roger. They do manage to take him out, but at the same time, the Drone Ranger's dead. Doesn't have a buyback. Bane's dead as well. And the Stormtear, Necrophone's getting beat bashed up. They immediately get the Hex down. The Storm Spirit ignore the Necrophones, kill the Storm, and they do get him. And now
The Aegis is down.
into the jungle. They're going to run into Miggy, though, who did have the vision. Is able to get the Abyssal Blade after the jump. The Hex follow-up. A Nightmare might just save it until no, the burst damage comes in. What a turns for the Knicks as You'll have to help them. There is the Black Hole. The Fiend's Grip used to stop that one. The Aeons buying Chalice a lot of time. Meanwhile,
getting
they
real
are
low.
able to finish off this Bane. Ramsey's being the second Black Hole. The BKB refresher shard coming into play, securing the source, helping things a lot. Ramsey's very low. The Ever Spirit need course just like that. Now Ramsey's being controlled. LGD kind of rounded. Oh, he's gonna go for the kill on the air. He does manage to get it before he dies. VP. This time it's their time to lose a fight. LGD do successfully hold. Don't lose a second. Up by the Storm Spirit. Where's the hole? The Drown Ranger, the Black Hole. Look at it go. Controlling him out. The Fiend's Grip on the outside of the pit. Nave just on the right hand side. But the
He needs to hold out.
so fast. He needs to hold. He's gonna go for the Black Hole and get two. But the Brewmaster, he's gonna be dying here. Abe just focusing on these heroes. As Ramses is gonna be caught in this. The Frost heroes keeping him kited around.
I'm Po Long Lin, and I'm a data scientist at IBM. I'm Po Long Lin, and I'm a data scientist at IBM. It always surprises people that I've never taken
Observing is something where I feel like I would actually push the whole crowd forwards. I could give people something that they would enjoy.
Welcome back to the MDL Disneyland Paris Major. My name is Sir Action Slacks, and I am here with two of the greatest panelists in the history of Dota 2, the Fogmeister, Mickey, Minnie Mouse, and Gods.
Hey, Slack.
Hey, you guys. How's it going?
Here with one of the hosts of Dota 2.
That's right. Technically, I am one. You know, fun fact, around the arena, they have us on gigantic speakers. You can literally hear the casters, the panel, pretty much all around Disneyland.
Yeah, the moment I walked out of the hotel, I was walking over yesterday, and I was like, I could clearly hear what Shiva was talking about in here. I was like, wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Right. And for weeks, I've been asking myself, why would they allow me to have this opportunity to host the major? And then I realized it. I probably sound pretty similar to Mickey Mouse. The people in the park, not really effective. And I sound remarkably close to Shiva. So, in the end...
Maybe it was Shiva I was hearing yesterday.
See? No one knows.
Continuity. Perfect. Yeah.
Indeed. But, gents, we just went through a heart-pounding series, and we've got just one just as good for you here today. We have Team Liquid versus Vici Gaming.
Yeah, this one should be pretty exciting, because... I mean, Vici's they've shown to be like extremely dominant, and then they dropped that series versus NIP that everybody's like, wait, what the hell just happened? And then they just came back and they look super dominant again. Liquid has been shaky as well. We're not too sure how to identify them because they've been switching up their drafts a lot too. And let's be honest, they've had a hard year.
Yeah, honestly, technically they're probably going to make it to TI, but as it stands, there is a chance that they could not, and that could be the first time Liquid is having trouble getting a TI in a few years.
And if they're going to TI, it's definitely not his favorites.
Yeah.
Which is, last year, even though they had a decent DPC year, they were still considered, one of the top 3 or 4 teams of the event. They won TI the previous year before that. This year, yeah, they squeak into TI. People aren't going to have them in their top 3 outside of, the hardcore Liquid fans who still believe in them.
Sure. Meanwhile, Vici Gaming, one of the only teams that was able to beat LGD, who put on a absolutely amazing performance last series. If they could beat LGD, can anyone beat them?
I mean, we'll see. Vici's also coming off of...
NIP can, yes.
Yeah, that is...
We are in the lower bracket, Slack, so somebody did indeed beat them.
That is true. But what I'm trying to make as a point is that when's the last time that they faced off against NIP? I mean, come on, that's an NA squad versus one of the best Chinese squads. Here we have Team Liquid, who they probably have a decent amount of experience with, or at least are very well prepared for. There's nobody in this tournament that's not prepared to face off against Liquid.
Prepared for PPD.
I mean, I wasn't prepared. Oh my goodness! Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Well,
this is woo.
That's fun. Yeah, I mean, Ori's been an incredibly dominant mid player for such a long time. Even coming up to this tournament, I think I heard all the players talking about Ori's not really losing his mid matchups. And then the scrims are coming out, and people are like, "Oh God, LGD is now starting to win everything." But Ori, Vici's still up there. That extremely threatening team. They're coming off a lot of wins, right? Winning the minor, winning the major, coming here right afterwards, still with quite a bit of momentum. And just a little bit of their drafting style is still pretty interesting to me too. They're still looking at heroes like Shadowfiend, which we're not seeing too much. They're picking like side lane Razor for Paparazzi. They're definitely doing a little bit of different stuff, at least that is in their comfort zone.
And on the Liquid side, I don't think you can really compare these plays anymore because Miracle has kind of switched over more to that traditional carry role.
Sure.
Again, we're seeing Matu mostly play the mid lane. A lot of his traditional heroes, the Viper, the Lone Druid, we saw him play Sniper. It seems like they want Miracle on more of these hard carries, with the current metagame being what it is.
Yep, since we have Ori up here, I wouldn't really like to talk about Sniper. This is one of the teams that's run the most. I believe Ori's run it 2 or 3 times so far to very good effect. Is that just because Drows are on the other team, or do you think that Ori knows more than we do about Mr. Sniper Man?
He picked it twice yesterday, right? Yesterday he played it the second game as well, and it did look really strong. The heroes gotten significant amounts of buffs over time. Hey, maybe they're onto something. Honestly, it's a pretty good mid matchup too versus most heroes. Like, there's not really anything that you're just like, it's gonna beat Sniper in the mid lane.
Absolutely.
There's not really that many options for you. So it's a safe mid laner as long as you can have distance. So,
would you say the best Keen hero of them all, Gods?
Keen.
That's right. That's his race. He's a Keen. There's many Keen.
Who else
heroes.
is a Keen?
Well, you got you got.
You're talking about King Gaming.
No, not King Gaming.
The race of Sniper.
We're talking
I know you're
about
talking
the race of Sniper.
Okay.
All right, you got.
I don't have Keen favorites, Slacks. I like all the Keens equally.
That is very kind of you. Let's take a look at GH and Fade.
I think this is a really good one that I was going to actually bring up as well, because I think Fade has been one of the best players at this tournament. He's just been showing off, it seems. His Nature's Prophet yesterday, he was #1 net worth at some point as his 4 position. His Shadow Shaman has had crazy impact. Even at the previous tournaments he's been playing, we've been looking at Fade and we've been like, wow, he is really just the all-star of making things happen around the map. And that's comparing to GH right now. And GH is also just phenomenal for Liquid, but in comparison to Fade right now, I definitely have to favor Fade just from the overall plays.
Yeah, just a side note, people always ask us, like, who's some of your favorite pro players on and off of camera? And I have to say, Fade is probably one of my favorite on any Chinese team. The guy is hilarious, and he's always got, you know, this smile, cracking jokes, having fun, and a really boisterous personality. So if you're looking to have a new fan on a team like Vici Gaming, if you're a fair weather fan and you're looking to hook on to somebody that you haven't before, Fade's your guy, in my opinion. GH though, I mean, come on, that's teddy bear.
We're hyping up Fade a lot. I mean, GH is most lovable Dota personality, most lovable Dota person probably. Period.
Out of all of them.
Out of all of them.
If I did have to be stuck on a desert island, I think I would probably pick GH. He would take care of me if I got injured. PPD, he'd like eat you or something. I mean, you wouldn't last a few days.
You're stuck on an island. I feel like GH's positivity at some point would get you. It's like, come on, dude, we're stuck on an island. Can we just, like, you know, wallow in our misery or something?
PMA.
PMA gets you that raft built, all right? You don't want salt on the island. That's how bad things happen. Any teams off the island.
I would watch a sitcom with PPD and GH stuck on an island together. Can you imagine how good that would be?
That would be something else. Matumba, man. Arms open, ready for embrace, but paparazzi, no love there. That's cold, Papa.
Completely different players in their carry position. Matu, when he does play it, he's very selfless. Paparazzi is all about just, I mean, you can just look at the scores, look at his KDA. He has a solid like 3 over Matumba Man for a good reason, because he's the one who is the carry. They make him the carry of the games the majority of the times, while Matu is the secondary supporting kind of role to Miracle. Even though Matu does have games where he does pop off like his lone druid and carry the game, but
yeah. I mean, Big Papa don't play, though. You talked a lot about the different roles that he can play, the different heroes. We see so much variety. Yeah, Luna, a Razor, a Monkey, a Weaver. This guy can do anything, Gods.
He can. His hero pool is very versatile. The fact he used to kind of be known more as a mid player. He was that mid 1v1 champion. Moving over to the carry role, he's fantastic. He reminds me a lot of Miracle in that they both have kind of gone between the 1 and the 2. They both are the player that their teams kind of build and play around the most, or at least give the biggest farm priority to. His hero pool doesn't really have a limit.
I'm interested in Matumba Man's Lone Druid. We saw that a few times, and looking a little shaky, to be honest with you. I wasn't too impressed. Fog, was that mostly the draft, or was that kind of on him?
I mean, I like watching Matumba when he's playing his Lone Druid. His Lifestealer are actually my 2 favorites. Sure, I mean, the Vipers and the Necros were, Viper, Necro, and Pugna were, and Venomancer, sure, we'll throw that one in there. Sure. Not really too much anymore. Those were great to see, but I like when I see Matu playing, because sometimes people are a bit critical on him. They're like, oh yeah, Matu maybe weak link because he's overshadowed a lot of times, but this guy's mechanical skill is absolutely insane. I mean, he's been 9,000 plus MMR for so long, and I like seeing him be able to display that, and I feel like you get to see it when he plays those Lone Druids at least. But
Gods, is there a particular player out of all of them, without comparing in this series, that you think we should keep an eye out from either team?
I guess to say someone different who I actually think we should keep an eye out for, say, Mind Control.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's the guy that you go back to Liquid when they're on top of the world, winning TI7. He was the standout player. He was the one that separated from the other teams. Yeah, okay, Miracle was the star player. He was the most famous, popular. He was the carry, the guy that, got most of the attention, but it was Mind Control that separated Liquid from the pack. No other team had an offlaner who could do what he did as far as influence over a game.
All right. Gents, you think this is going to be just as exciting as the last series? You think we're going to go to Game 3, or does someone have a clear 2-0 advantage here?
I think we should go to Game 3 for this one.
Okay.
I think Vici showed, some small signs of weakness, of course, when we saw them playing versus NIP, and I think if anyone's got a good way of strategy, it's Kuroki, right? He's definitely got something thought up. We saw him doing these Chen with Viper, Chen, Viper, and the Tusk with the tag team. They had cool stuff.
Absolutely. Well, the teams are about
merci d'accueillir Team Liquid. Et leurs adversaires, Vici Gaming. Faites du bruit!
Our players have entered their booths, they have entered the arena, and we are ready to see some family-friendly Disney bloodshed here at the Major. I am so hyped for this series. I have to keep reminding myself that we're all bottom boys here. People are going home. It seems like we're the upper bracket semifinals with these two teams, but somebody's out soon. Who's it going to be? 100% Gods. Give it to me. Big prediction.
It's gonna be Vici Game is going out. That's a grand guarantee.
Whoa!
Grand guarantee.
Grand guarantee. So basically worthless. Thank you so much. But let's get focused on this game coming up here. Gods, Fogged. You think we're gonna see some signature heroes? Is there a chance we could see some Vipers? Do you think that we could see some maybe a Disruptor from DY? Something crazy? Are they going to play to the book? Are we going to see Drow Rangers, Morphlings, all that?
I think openers, I think the first two picks will probably see the Drow, the Morphling, the Duso. One of those three probably picked up on one of the sides. But besides that, yeah, I think we'll still see, you know, DY sticking to his guns, DY seeing him playing that Disruptor. I think we could still see the potential for these teams doing the Grimstroke with PA, Grimstroke with Magnus, because I saw OG did it originally, and then both of these teams have actually kind of taken it under their wing and incorporated it into their draft. So I do think that's another strat that people have to be afraid of in these upcoming ones, just because, I mean, Mag PA, and then with that Grimstroke seems unbelievable.
Come on. Gods, we were complaining about Mag PA 3 months ago. Nothing has changed. Do you really think someone's going to risk that strategy in this series? I mean, Vici did do it during the groups.
We've seen a few teams Mag PA still and have success. I think LGD also did one game. It's not like an opening 2-pick, though, anymore.
Yeah.
Definitely
it's more a 3-4 combo that you can slip in. The PA still seems viable without the Magnus in certain games and situations, so we'll have to wait and see. This man here is going to be very important because there's some inexperienced younger players on Vici Gaming. They don't really have that loud voice on the team in-game, but they do when it comes to the draft, when it comes to the pre-game, the strategy aspect.
Of course, ROTK, you know, back there making those crazy plans, showing us those nutso heroes. Centaur is one that Vici seems to be picking a lot, and I think that's right in ROTK's playbook, probably coming straight from him.
I also really like Yang on that hero. I know he's had some good games and good performances and all that on the Nature's Prophet, but he's been struggling a little bit on it. I feel like when I see him playing Centaur, it's pure confidence he's playing with, and it works so well with the team. And then it allows, you know, if they want to, allow the supports to play. I mean, we saw Fade, like I was mentioning earlier, Fade having one of the better NP performances of the tournament as that 4 position.
There was like some kind of Dota 2 civil war where we had our 2 leaders from all different scenes. I could totally see Kuro and ROTK being like your Iron Man, your Captain America. I mean, Kuro is just a god among men when it comes to Western Dota. And here, I don't think he skipped a beat.
Captain America Someone from America.
I'm sorry, that's Civil War. I mean, I can't just make up new lore. I'm saying our 2 leaders from different regions.
Sure.
So Kuro, you felt like he skipped a beat at all? Is he not the same Kuro that we saw at TI, or is he still up there?
He's still up there. He always will be. He's one of the most celebrated captains of Dota 2 and Dota 1 history, and always he's not going anywhere unless he decides to step down.
You know, I did have a talk with him privately, and I said, Kuro, when is this going to end for you? When are you finally done? He said 3 TIs. That's what kind of thinker that guy is. He's not even qualified for this TI yet. And he says, you know what? I'm not only am I going to do 2, I'm going to do 3.
I love that about Kuro, and I think like Puppy's kind of similar. They just feel like they're going to be there until Dota 2's not there, which it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
Absolutely.
They've been there. They've been here since the beginning. They'll be here till the end.
Wow. Incredible words. Thank you.
I mean, they have been.
I mean, it's true.
Even from like Dota 1 days, it's like you look at most teams and it's just like, hey, Kuro and Puppy playing together there. And then you look at TI1, it's like, hey, Kuro and Puppy are playing there. And then you keep looking, you're like, wait, they're still playing together. And now finally they've, of course.
When our children are playing TI3, or Dota 3, excuse me, and Kuro and Puppy are the, virtual reality coaches downloaded into the mainframe.
Dude, Kuro and Puppy will be beating up on our kids in Dota 3 at TI30, They'll still be playing in their 50s, I reckon.
I bet they would literally beat up on my kids. I can see Puppy doing that. He's a terrifying man. But let's not talk about him in this series as we still waiting for these boys to make their first picks here. Ooh, look at that computer. I'm still a big boy on the lights. I got to be real with you. I like light up things. My keyboard glows like 1,000 suns in my basement.
It distracts me. I had to turn all mine off.
Fucked. Please, not in front of the sponsors.
I personally had to. It's great having the option.
He loves that the sponsors provide options to customize the lighting on their different products.
I originally did use the lights for a very long time, and then myself. I did deserve. But it's still really cool. I like the ones where when you click the key, it's like, those are awesome. But
if you're listening, Secret Lab, put some lights on your chairs.
Heck yeah. Secret Labs, if you guys put lights on your chairs, some headlamps on there, maybe some laser pointers, I'd buy it. Heck yeah. Let's go. Anyway, so we have these teams. Is pressure going to affect either of these? These guys are veterans, right? So being in the lower bracket, being in elimination on the major, I think we just pretty much count that out. Nobody's going to get pressured here.
If either team, Vici won a major. I think that's maybe the hurdle they got past finally. They won a big event. They had a year last year with a slightly different roster where they had a lot of second place finishes. But winning both the minor and the major was a huge confidence booster. It secured them TI. They no longer kind of have to, be under the pressure of, qualifying for TI, and also they've beaten all those top teams in the world now.
Yeah, I think Vici, this is a kind of a random one, but I looked at them at the beginning of the year, and I saw them struggling quite a bit, and then in particular DY. And for me, I think DY is actually my most improved player of the year.
Wow.
He went from being having really rough games on this 5 position a lot of the time, and now, you look at DY, and most of the games he's making plays all over the place. He's causing so much to happen around the map. I've been really excited just watching Vici develop over the year. It's been really nice to see what RLTK has been able to do with this team.
And we've been waiting for that moment for a while. I'll remind you guys, last DPC season, we all had these memes about Vici Gaming being the #2 best team because they #2'd at, 4 or 5 different events?
Yeah.
Now they're clearly fixed those problems and they're in the #1 spot. But we do have DY versus Kuroki here on our screen. The legend and the new up-and-comer, as Fogged put it. So anything here stand out to you guys?
Kuro needs to stack some more camps.
Yeah, come on, Kuro.
Not too much. 5 positions, there's not many stats you can glean from playing 5 position. The impact on the game is much more subtle. Every 5 is going to be planning wards, stacking camps, some doing more things, different amounts. Sometimes supports give the wards to their teammates to plan. It's your impact is all these small, tiny little plays that you can make with the laning stage, the pulls, the lane equilibrium stuff, the vision game.
Pure meditation as he focuses on trying to get a mental read on the enemy there. That was some psychic stuff I saw. The double fingers on pupils, scary things.
Just getting prepared. It's a big match, right? Like you said, elimination. It's still important. Vici, sure, they've qualified, but they still want to keep proving themselves. With a person like RLTK behind you, you don't want to make no errors. Don't make anything for him to yell at you a little bit more for.
Yep. Scary.
Yeah.
God, you ever met a frightening person in Dota? like
frightening.
You know, just like a very intense personality or coach that you're like, ooh, spooked of him. And then you learn to love them later.
The first Dota player I kind of looked up to and scared me and I was afraid to talk to was actually Bulba.
Bulba? What's
in Dota 1, he was tagged as back as Bulbasaur in the Dota 1 days, but he was just someone who we played in like these in the old Dota 1 Battle.net servers. You play in like these in-house leagues, and he was in this in-house league, and he was always like in the top 2, top 3 ranks, like him, Demon, and a few others. And anytime I got a game in him, he would outplay the hell out of me, and I'm just like, I want to be as good as this guy.
Wow. I was actually most intimidated, true story, by Mott. I got my wires mixed up, and for some reason I thought that Mott worked for Valve. And he invited me to go out to pizza, and I was going to meet a bunch of other talent, and they were like all getting dinner at my first event at ESL New York. And Mott's like, hey, do you want to have pizza with me just you and me? I'm like, guys, I got to go. I got to go meet Mott. I literally got up from the dinner table and left as my meal got there because I wanted to go suck up. It's a poor choice. But he was intimidating. I mean, back in the day, he was the rising star. Fogg, who were you kind of like, oh, scared to talk to him?
Mine was probably like Dendy or Misery.
Dendy.
Like the first, like Dendy in the beginning, because everybody in Dota 1 was pretty evil. Let's be honest. We all had our dark times. We were all slacks.
What does that mean?
We were young, and everyone was pretty mean to each other in all chat. Let's just say,
okay.
Everybody was mean.
This was before tournaments really got streamed, you know.
Yeah, this is a long.
Everyone would say whatever they wanted.
Okay, so it was
a lot of good beef
just on pubs.
Yeah,
like,
okay. Just a little bit of intimidation there, and yeah, I mean, Rasmus was definitely one of the bigger ones that I was intimidated by.
Misery the Slayer.
I think that's for good reason, right?
Yeah.
Dang, I wish I could have met Dendy back in his bad boy days. Yeah. That would have been something to see. But we have made it into the draft, ladies and gents, so let's get serious. Let's get into this elimination match between Vici Gaming and Team Liquid. Leshrac is out, and a nice respect band there for the Paparazzi Razor. We're going to see that classic Darkseer Nyx Assassin combo. Reminded me of the last Major Gods. But anything here that's jumping out? We still have that our girl, we know her, we love her. Drow Ranger still ready to roll.
So Vici were in the series where Drow wasn't the priority pick yesterday against Keen Gaming. So maybe either that suggests one, they don't think it's maybe as good as it is. They have a way to deal with it, and that they're not necessarily just going to straight up first pick it.
I feel like we're going to see Drow versus Medusa or Drow and Medusa on the same team or something coming out right here.
Liquid's been opening those two heroes a lot. Or Drow, we saw Drow Morph as well from them.
Yeah, the Morphling as well. I think we're going to see some combo of Drow, Morphling, Medusa for some reason just in that opener.
I have heard the legends of the Drow Medusa. I don't think I've been able to witness it yet on my panel segments. So what makes that combo so strong? It's just two very strong right-clicking chicks with bows, right?
Drow just amps up the Dusa. The Dusa has, instead of, you have your Manta timing and maybe your Scotty timing, but then for some reason your Dusa has 120 bonus attack speed, and you're like, oh my, it actually just completely changes the whole matchup.
And you get all your item timings faster because you're just farming
faster.
Speed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, pretty
cool.
Open.
I mean, Oracle, Doom, not just about the carries. There's some of those utility heroes which have been very highly favored.
Yeah, Doom. Definitely one of those that's up there.
Could this be the fabled, nice pick on the Doom? I think we just grabbed that up, but the fabled Drow trap, where someone tricks the enemy into picking Drow and then easily counters them. Could that be what we're seeing?
Possibility. Like the Naga Sniper we talked about in the last series, there is definitely the possibility of teams looking at that.
All right.
Yeah, I imagine Vici had a hunch they could have gone for the Drow there. They were probably considering leaving them both in, saying, okay, Liquid's either going to take the Doom or the Drow. And it seems maybe they were more inclined to thinking the Drow first pick was coming because they're a bit slow with this pick.
Could it be? Shadow Shaman grabbed out. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I think Fade has been probably his most played hero throughout the entire tournament.
Yeah, and I was thinking, do they want to... I don't think it's great to do, but they could take the Grimstroke just because denying it, because Liquid could do Doom Grimstroke. And we've seen multiple teams running that.
Yeah.
This hero just seems to be rising back up in popularity, but I don't know if they want to open with both of their support, so they're probably not going to do that.
Interested to see what would take more precedence over than getting a nice combo over that. or preventing that ban. And nice.
They still do take their 2 supports, though.
I mean, that, to me, makes a lot of sense. Vici Gaming has been playing a lot of Shaman on Fade, a unbelievable amount of Disruptor on DY, and they're securing that. They know that Team Liquid's going to ban those heroes eventually, so why not just grab them now?
It is pure comfort.
Could this be the mind game spectacular where we actually don't see Oracles, Drows, any of these normal picks? I sure hope so.
And the Oracle feels pretty nice when you're playing against the Shaman.
Of course.
That's a hero that's going to go on your cores with the Hex, the Shackles, and having that save goes a long way.
As we wait for the next hero, guys, I just want to... Oh, nice. Earthshaker coming out there. All right. GH doing some major work. I think he was a big MVP on one of our earlier series. Huge amount of saves, rotations on that Earthshaker. And I think it was Gods, you mentioned that just that long-range stun can make so many things happen. Still very strong, though, right, Fogged?
Yeah, versus the Shaman, I mean, you've got ways to always cancel the Shackles from distance. You've got your team fight now that you match up well, and you're going to be able to get a good lane for your Doom, more than likely. You just Fissure block that off lane. Doom can go eat that range creep immediately, walk up, and you'll be able to get yourself a nice reset and laning position.
Going to put pressure on that mid lane as well, since Shaker can then, once he's secured that off lane, you're just going to start roaming.
Yeah.
Either try lane with your carry, go mid, wherever you want, whatever you want to do. There's just so much that Shaker can do.
You know, I really miss the old days of the Disruptor Bounty Hunter. You know, the big tracks, the big glimpses. That hero just completely gone from the meta as it is.
Yeah, we were seeing some like off-lane bounty and stuff that people were trying to run, but yeah, the days of that seem to be gone. Is Vici take out the Lone Druid? I think you should always ban their like the Lone Druid versus Liquid if they don't have a Matoma Man hero opened up. And their 2 heroes don't really deal with Lone Druid.
Absolutely.
Disruptor and Shadow Shaman don't really do too much versus the hero. Shadow Shaman can be okay, but you also feed your wards. Lone Druid eats them easily.
Ori Sniper still not banned out. They are going to do a respect ban on that Yang Centaur, but still in the pool there. Kind of like it, you know? Make sure ES can never get on anybody.
Kind of have to know some of the matchups, I think, a bit more first.
I see.
At least the carry or the mid, because they could pick some of those heroes like Storm or Spectre that just completely ruin Sniper's games. At least in my... maybe Vici just think this hero is amazing and you can play into those. But to me, Sniper is like a matchup counter. And you're not looking at matchup countering a Doom Shaker.
Absolutely. We haven't talked too much about Miracle. We have done a lot of talking, but when it comes to Miracle picks and where they can put him, he's been playing pretty standard stuff here. Mostly they've been putting him on Arc Wardens, which is pretty cool, but mostly Medusas, your PAs, your
game winner.
Yeah, your game winning heroes.
Once. So the ones that pretty much are gonna just close out the game and carry for you.
Sure.
And I think this one, this one looks like it could be that DOTA. It definitely seems like it at the moment. I think Morphling is a lot harder playing versus both of these natural counters coming into play.
So we still are quite open for that fabled Drow Medusa combo. Both teams really have not revealed hardly anything.
Yeah, this is feeling like a game where somebody's going to get a 3rd or 4th pick Drow.
Yeah, I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see Drow and Naga Siren. I think Vici has the setup already for a Naga Siren potential if they want to as well with that Disruptor combo.
Isn't that a little risky, though? Because we have seen answers to that come out in that final pick. We've seen a Broodmother get slammed in right after they picked that last pick Drow, which can be devastating.
And it was this team here, Liquid, who did that. It was Martu's Brood taking a game off of EG.
So we got to be careful for that Spider.
Yeah. Vici's using a lot of time here.
Fog, thoughts on spiders in real life? They spook you?
I used to be more arachnophobic. I'm a little bit less. I still don't like them, though.
Okay.
The legs. I don't know. Something about the
legs.
Scuttle. Yeah, something about the legs.
God, you in particular. Well, you're Australian. You're not afraid of any animal, I don't believe.
Not spiders.
Any animal at all give you the spooks? The crocs, did you lose
I
any
find
family?
flamingos kind of creepy.
Flamingos?
There are more fake flamingos in the world than real flamingos. That's messed up.
That is actually a chilling statistic.
Yes.
Who knows if there's any real...
How'd you find that one out?
They could be hiding anywhere. I mean, it simply must be.
Yeah.
The pink flamingo... Wow, gods.
This is an endangered species, and people mock it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm actually kind of spooked right now. Lich is banned out. Yeah, Lich is actually a respect ban. We have seen Lich pulled out sometimes. Maybe I'm backwards there. I think that Vici Gaming was the ones that were running that Lich.
So they're planning some heavy physical damage core, I guess?
Yeah.
Maybe they're expecting the Grim Stroke, that old combo. Grim Lich. Ooh.
They can't fit both in because they've got the Shaker already.
Okay, they bring themselves in more team fight now too. I like the Brew versus the Doom usually too, but it also can go both ways. All about that initiation that you can get off.
Interesting. Man, I love both these teams, but I am kind of excited for Vici Gaming to win, so maybe we could get a question about that Lich, because I'm pretty stumped.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any idea? Not to put you on the spot, but that's a crazy one.
Yeah, especially when they have the Brew, who has Dispel.
All right.
The Brew has Dispel to deal with the Frost Shield, so a bit interesting. Maybe just because of the tower pressure, they have this Shadow Shaman and stuff too. They want to be able to siege, and Frost Armor can be pretty annoying on towers.
Man, these guys are really holding on to these big essential picks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is setting yourself up a little bit for a hard counter pick on whoever has the last one.
I thought they could still do... Okay.
Okay. Oh, here we are. The time has come.
Triple melee. Not the end of the world that you've got all these melee heroes, and got Brew Dispel for the shield.
Yeah, you have Brew Dispel for the shield, and I mean, it's triple melee into Disruptor. And I've seen some teams pick the Disruptor actually into the Abaddon because, you know, Abaddon, you're short range, you have to walk in, you kind of get caught in the edge touching of the Static Storm some of those times. And yeah, you have triple melee versus 3 heroes that are pretty happy playing versus melee heroes.
God, does there need to be a hero whose ultimate ability is to transform melee into ranged? Think about it. Think about it.
Their ultimate, like Dragon Knight?
Yeah, what if it just did an AoE? Think about it. Monkey King, heck yeah. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
We have seen Paparazzi rock on this hero before, and I think he has a lot of heroes to help him get on top of people, catch people, and make enough chaos where he can get some real work done.
And they'll get on top of him. It's triple melee, so you're picking Monkey King into melee heroes, likely melee heroes in lane. This Monkey, there's definitely going to be somewhere he can go to have a good start and to get the ball rolling.
The zone control of teamfight right now for Vici is crazy. Like Brew Split, Monkey King ult, Disruptor ulti, and even like Serpent Wards seems incredibly hard for Liquid to actually walk into this one at the moment.
This is tough.
I think they're going to get some big... Oh, we're going to get Magic Viper, but they're looking for some big hyper carry from Miracle here. The Morphling or possibly still Drow works.
Man, that makes it pretty... Now they have... I feel like they have some damage issues versus Viper, because Viper with Abaddon and Monkey King does not have fun. You just get broken the whole entire game. He just keeps throwing Nether Toxin wherever you are, and you'll never really build up your Jingu stacks. And Monkey King without Jingu Mastery he can be pretty underwhelming.
Absolutely, and with Abaddon, how do you kill this Viper right now? You got a lot of people to control the Viper, but who's dealing the killing blow on Vici Gaming? I'm not really seeing it either. Abaddon can just take him out of the big stuns, you know? Big drunken haze.
Scary. You're just going to have to Cyclone him up in the air, I imagine.
Yeah, I think just ignore him and look for the other targets. They still do have crazy amount of team fight on Vici.
Now, I try not to say this anywhere, but
say it.
Omni Knight has been picked and then forgotten a while. Oh, Troll Warlord! Speak of the devil. So we do see that melee into range, as I was talking about earlier. Glad you were listening, Team Liquid. It comes out here. Troll and Medusa. Huh.
Hey.
All right. Does that have enough damage, though, to take out that mid-game Matumba Man on that Viper?
And Vici looking for these more drawn-out fights around the Medusa in some sense.
Yeah.
Like, well, they're going to have all these big ultimates where they can win during that, but Medusa herself is about the sustain, and you don't really care if you get doomed to Medusa. You're just going to stand on the front lines, hold your ground, and make it difficult for Liquid to get to the back lines. Liquid don't really have any heroes that jump these supports. The Shaker with a blink at some point theoretically can, but Disruptor Shaman are just going to be, hiding in trees, playing in fog.
Necessary to jump a support when you could just run at them, though, Mr. Fogged? They got some pretty tanky boys.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Okay, I'll give you some time as I make a very special announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear it in the crowd. There was not a Drow Ranger pick or ban in this entire series. We're free. We did it, everybody. Very exciting moment in Dota 2 history. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Well, Fogged, are you done thinking?
Can I go second?
You can go never, because I think the teams are just about ready to go. Cap and Blitz, we are going to be heading over to you to see who is going to take Game 1 in this elimination series.
That's right, LGD has already secured their next spot in the losers bracket. Vici Gaming, the other Chinese team left in this tournament, has to go through an equally tough opponent in Team Liquid, former TI champs. And Blitz, what do you think the odds here of these two teams?
I think Vici's actually favored in this matchup. I feel like their form has just been better overall. They've played the cleaner Dota. Liquid, I've seen them get the odd win here or there, but I need to see more.
We'll have it.
Team Liquid contre Vici Gaming. Game 1.
It's right, Vici Gaming versus Team Liquid. Game 1 underway here. And I like that you talked about Vici Gaming actually being the favorite here. It has been such a treat to watch this team make their way through the minors and now become just strong, consistent major contenders.
Oh yeah, for sure. I feel like the group stage performance especially showed how capable they are. They did drop the series against NIP, but
I mean, they demolished LGD in their group stage to secure first.
Yeah, and we see how good LGD looks right now.
Yeah. This is definitely a team that has just been getting better and better as the season has gone on. And there are certain similarities. We, in fact, backstage, we were talking about the impact of the 5 positions in some of these games. We were talking about how good X-Nova was in that last series. DY has had similar performances for Vici Gaming. We've got the same kind of playmaking cores. Of course, Paparazzi's been doing so much.
Matsu said he would spam it for me. He'd figure it out.
We're going to start off with Liquid actually running an aggro lane here. And we're going to have Doom up here in the top lane, potentially in the one-on-one against Brewmaster. Should Vici Gaming look to switch up their lanes?
30 seconds.
Potentially.
I mean, you don't want to... The Monkey King cannot afford a bad laning phase, right?
Yeah, I think Monkey King... Very rarely do you ever want to see them just get wrecked in the laning phase. He's kind of like Viper / Razor in that sense.
Yeah.
Where these heroes absolutely rely on having a very stable laning phase to go with. I'm trying to see what the games look like, similar to what we did last game. I think I prefer Vici's lineup, because I think it is a very good DOTA game. Like, it's hard for them to burst her down. There are ways to kite her, but I think there's enough lockdown on the side of Vici with the Brewmaster, with the Disruptor, with the Shaman to follow up. Because I think there's 2 ways to play DOTA lineups. It's either you lock enough targets down for her, like you surround her with teamfight, or you surround her with heroes that also can't get killed. Similar to what PSG LGD did in the previous series when they played DOTA. But this is the other way around it, is like have a ton of lockdown to just help her out. As Kuroki's going to TP to top lane.
They are going to switch up the lanes. They really want to make sure they have this range troll into the melee Monkey King. And we'll see if Vici Gaming are going to do another round of musical lanes, and it looks like they might be. Monkey King is already beginning to back up, sensing that if there's no core in lane, they've got to be moving around. And he brings the courier to himself to turn into a courier so he can have that extra bit of movement speed. He can run to bottom lane that much faster. That's a cool little play.
I like that a lot. But the problem for him is that the Brew's not moving. So even if...
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's like,
this seems like
TP out? Like, that doesn't seem like...
If Yang TP's out, then things are kind of like null.
Well, then at that point, like, if he TP's out, they swap again, and they actually liquid TPs, then Paparazzi can TP and Yang can just swap and run across the map. Like,
I mean, this is so weird.
They're always leaving like one support that's actually pretty good at farming, right? You want the Shadow Shaman to be able to stay in the lane.
They're actually just going to go for the straight up swap. And that's why I was really confused. I think Yang was just making sure that he got the maximum amount, because if he goes top, he probably isn't getting a lot anyways.
And there's no harm in giving a Shadow Shaman a good lane.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's just getting solo. He can get an early level 2, level 3.
If you had, like, Doom Shaman, I think you could contest this lane versus the Monkey King. Because Monkey King isn't infallible against all melees. Like, we often see, who is it? Keen Gaming do Tidehunter plus Shaman or Tidehunter Lion, and they'll skill up Gush level 1, for example, and just get real aggressive early on.
But here you've got an Earthshaker, very passive support. Now, Blitz, you did say you liked Vici Gaming, and I think you outlined pretty well
I think it's like
how Vici Gaming wins.
Yeah.
So how does Liquid overcome that?
Liquid needs to take early team fights.
Okay.
I think it's very similar. Like, in these top teams, what ends up happening in the draft, like, what ends up happening is you'll say to yourself, oh, they've actually outdrafted us in this way. So you'll adjust accordingly. So for Liquid, I think they'll see, when it comes to the ultra late, they probably don't want to play this game. There's just a ton of disable and ways for Monkey and Deucer to get out their damage. Plus, I think Brew is like the ultimate crowd control team fighting offlaner.
Yeah.
Doom does counter him in a way, but like there's so many targets that he'll have to Doom. I think in this game to feel comfortable. That's another way to deal with Doom, is just give him multiple targets as Yang getting gone on, but should be just fine as he backs himself out as Fade, gonna cop some hits.
And that one-to-one is like, you can always just play around it, right?
Yeah, you can always just pre-split, like Pasha was doing in the previous game. I think it's like maybe like 60-40 in terms of like how much I favor Vici's lineup.
Fade. Just gonna Ether Shock, couldn't actually get there in time for a good Shackles.
Yeah, because you have to consider all the factors. For example, how easy it is to take objectives. And I think that Liquid can take objectives very easily with little to no risk. Because they have a Shaker to disengage, and they've got Troll that can always pop his ulti. Plus they have a Viper that can just sit in front, and nobody on Vici's lineup, I think, really wants to fight up against this Viper. So I could see Liquid just pushing down towers like that and taking fights. Conversely, I could very easily see both of them taking Roshan because of the Shaman wards. As Matamba Man,
he's not going to leave you alone. They need a TP in here to be able to save Matamba Man because Fade hits so hard. They are going to be able to get the Hex and with the help of the Mistcoil.
This is great, though.
Has got to get out. He's forced many rotations, and his haste rune will last just long enough. So he takes very little damage on his way out.
He's forced both supports down here. Matamba Man's jungling. This bottom lane is completely free for the Monkey King. There's literally no one down here. Not this type of laning phase start that they want, although Yang getting quite low, but no real backup on the side of Liquid to finish this off. And the laning phase, I think, is going to be a little bit rough for them as a result of how this is all shaken up.
And it sounds like to me, and especially with the way Liquid did defensively rotate to help him out, that this Viper's game is going to be super important. If you're talking about the team fight being the most important thing, Miracle's going to be caught here by 3 heroes. He tries to go for the bounty rune, but he does have the Mistcoil. He also applies the miss percentage chance on all of these heroes thanks to the Whirling Axes. And will be just fine, even if he doesn't get the bounties.
It is a very good troll game, though. Once he gets BKB, it's going to be hard for them to contest him. So that's why although I do favor Vici, it's not so much so that, like last game I felt was really hard for VP.
The Doom, he takes so much damage, and Paparazzi, thanks to that mobility of being able to go for the tree dance, is able to kill the Doom. He couldn't even get the Devour on the Siege Wagon. They managed to stop him just in time. That's a good way to be able to stop all that creep cutting. Hell, Mind Control even blew a scan just to try and see if he could find a way to be able to pull that that wave to a safe position.
I mean, the early game scans don't really... It's not like anyone's using it unless there's some sort of mid-tower assault coming in, and you want to make sure that nobody's hiding in the sidelines. But so far, so good. I think Liquid is, despite having to jungle, they've got really good heroes at jungling. That is the upside for their team. That even though 2 heroes were forced to jungle and just completely leave the laning phase, they're like the 2 best heroes that could possibly do it, right?
Yeah.
You've got Doom that's got Devoured, you have Viper that with Nether Toxin farms up very quickly.
That's why Fade is spending so much of his time, not in lane, but in the enemy jungle, just trying to disrupt anybody. A great Fisher block from GH. Miracle is going to be able to get on top of DY and ensure the kill.
And I think Liquid is very correctly prioritizing this Troll, because like I said, I think Troll with BKB in this game, he's going to be the reason why they win or lose. As Mind Control going to get gone on, they don't want to...
Oh, mass rotations. They are going to be able to go for the ensnare here, trying to set up for the Fisher block, but that's why Paparazzi blows his Wukong's command just to be able to make sure that Liquid cannot chase down the support, but Viper's going to be able to come in from the side here, gets the Viper strike, not quite enough to be able to finish off Fate by itself.
He has no levels.
Walk it off.
He has no levels of his poison attack, so after the ulti wears off, absolutely no way to chase that shaman. So it's more just like a general nuke.
Yeah.
Mind control.
Managed to get the Jingu stacks up to 4. It's a big hit, but GH is going to be able to provide a lot of disable, and they do have a lot of extra save as well. Mind control is going to be fine. It's going to be Paparazzi who tries to get the tree dance. He needs to be able to hide a little bit, but they just keep on finding him. Not going to let him jump into the trees here. Paparazzi overextends himself at the bottom lane.
Very surprised that he decided to go for that, considering he knows that both supports TP down there. And there's no easy way for them to get back up to Miracle.
Oh, look at this big
stack.
Ori comes over, gonna take most of it, but they can't actually kill Yang here, which looks like it's gonna be easy for them to do so. It's not a bad exchange for Liquid whatsoever.
Yeah, Matama Man was coming over to clear the stack himself. And both supports. It's surprising that they're getting kills with Abaddon Earthshaker.
Yeah.
Considering neither of them really deal that much damage.
Those are super defensive supports.
Yes, especially in this type of game, but good rotations overall by Liquid. Weird commitment from Vici. They've got to be a little bit more careful about that.
Now, Viper's always going to have a good game because he's a Viper of jungles. You say they're prioritizing the troll. This does mean that Mind Control's having the roughest game of the 3 cores. But even him, as a Doom, can still cobble together some sort of game. He just picks up level 5.
The best part about Doom in this game, I think, is you'll recover once you have Doom up.
Yeah.
And Miracle is actually doing very well for himself, considering Liquid being rewarded right now for their faith, as he's got the highest net worth in the game. Even against the Dusa, where it feels like she's farmed up a lot of those stacks. She had that free mid lane where gonna go onto this.
GH in trouble here. Fisher needs to make sure that Yang can actually get the clap up because of the glimpse. There's no way for GH to be able to disengage from this. He starts to run up, but eventually will be found. Paparazzi's going to join him here in the mid lane, but that does leave Fade alone here at the bottom. He's going to be snared up by the net. Mind Control will run him down eventually, unless Fade could do some mega juke.
Look at this, though. This mid movement is often what Liquid likes to do. And I'd be really surprised if Liquid gave this up for free.
Miracle not even going for the 10-minute bounties, just starts heading towards that mid lane. The tower will survive ever so barely, but now Miracle's going to try and get sandwiched, but the Primal Split going down, they're just going to disable him, and all of Vici Gaming can run over. Liquid is on their way, but it's going to be a little bit late. Miracle still has his ultimate, though. If he wants to be able to pop it the last second, he does manage to get it off, but he's inside the Wukong's man, and he's just getting kited up. Meanwhile, they're going to throw the Baton up in the air to make sure he can't save the troll, and now toss back down. He's going to be able to provide the Aphotic Shield to Matama Man, but Kuroki's already taking so much damage, the Fisher actually blocks him in. Bru's a little bit scared, though. He's going to TP out, leave the kill up to the Monkey King, who's going to be able to catch the Viper.
This is a wipe.
Back the Earthshaker as well. Vici Gaming, such cool movement out of all of that. Pressuring the mid, and then sandwiching onto Miracle. Just beautiful stuff.
It comes down to Paparazzi's position. He stayed in the tree line the entire time, waited up there, and it eventually does pay off when his Brewmaster finds the kill. I really like Miracle, the idea behind it, because he just comes down, he's like, I'm not even going to wait for the bounty runes. What's most important in this game is saving this mid tower, as Kuro does get the deny, but it's the strategical disadvantage of losing your mid tower against a Dusa. Because now it's not safe to even farm your own Ancients, and what'll end up happening is they'll place more and more aggressive wards at your Ancients, and they'll try to take away that triangle of farm. And so for Liquid, it's very important now that they don't lose both of the outer tier 1s. They're most likely losing this top one in exchange for the bottom tier 1 tower, which I think is a fine trade, because Liquid might even be able to make it back up here in time. They know there's no Brew Split, and they're about to hit 6 on Doom. Unfortunately, he has got no mana.
Yeah, if they could somehow find a solution to that, they could mass rotate back up to that top lane and save their tier 1.
Yeah, but with the Shaman wards expended, I think this is going to be guaranteed towers. Paparazzi eats the tree to make sure that no one can do that sneaky TP up there.
So instead, Liquid are going to head to mid. Top is not a lane they can defend, but maybe they can even out the game by being able to set up on this mid lane. But there is going to be the glyph, and Vici Gaming, this time it's going to be their turn to rotate in and defend. But they really need to make sure that Yang stays alive here, and he does manage to get out of that static storm. The glimpse back. GH is put in that silence once again. Yang going to be slowed down after hit after hit. Mind Control tries to chase him down, but he's too damn tanky.
Yeah, and with this, though, really what you're trying to do is buy time for the DOTA to get here and frontline for you. And Vici does. I mean, no tier 1 team wants to ever give up that mid tower for free. They understand what it means. You give up this triangle of farm yourself.
Yeah.
Because now Liquid can make these smoke plays into your jungle, and it's very hard to punish them if Glyph isn't up, or if your shrine isn't up on the left side. So keeping the mid tower alive is the easiest thing to do, even if it costs you some heroes. Which for Liquid, the biggest disaster was when they lost 4 heroes and the tower on top of that.
Yeah. Surprisingly, it didn't actually put Vici Gaming that much ahead in net worth, only up by 1K.
And I think that comes down to the traded tower and the heroes that Liquid have, right?
Yeah,
Mind Control will always have Devour, which just is your own mini Hanamitis.
Yang surrounded here, tries to go for the Primal Split. He does actually get it off. GH missing the Fissure there, and now maybe throwing away his life here as he's going to be glimpsed back. Surrounded by heroes. Vici Gaming, a very heavy rotation, but does at least shut down GH's game. And oh, maybe they can actually get a little bit more. No, that Tornado's not going to last long.
I'm even surprised that he was able to track him down.
Yeah.
With Brewmaster.
7-4, 2,000 net worth lead for Vici Gaming. You said Liquid going to be playing for their team fight. I'm presuming a lot of that's going to come down to Matumba Man having his mech.
Yeah, and the BKB that will eventually come for Miracle as his like second or third item.
It's a huge difference though between the Medusa, who's able to farm up Ancients, is at 7,500 net worth. Meanwhile, the Viper at just 5K. This is the problem with Medusa right now. It just seems like she farms so quickly. She gets into those first 2 items and actually becomes a viable threat nice and early.
It's just a really hard matchup for Viper too, because one Medusa Snake gets rid of all your mana, and you don't have a big pool to begin with to use your Corrosive.
Mind Control gonna get got here as they do get the Jingu stacks up. Very surprised they threw it on the Serpent Wards, but I guess they were afraid of Kuro coming in, providing the Aphotic Shield. They do glimpse him back up to the top lane though.
They'll take the tower with this anyways, but Liquid, this is a really good trade by them.
Yeah.
Take the mid tower if you can, but Vici, with the successful scan, they know that this is happening. Yang doesn't have the ulti, but with the Deuce up in here in front,
And even though they don't have the Monkey King, it looks like Vici Gaming could defend, but they can't afford to lose so many of these heroes. The Static Storm does manage to go down. Kuro does have the borrowed time. Miracle managed to get out of that silence, and now the Wukong's command goes down. Managed to get this stun out onto Miracle. He's finally going to pop that ultimate. Turning and going onto Yang. It looks like Yang is probably going to die here. Miracle's actually healed up so much. At about half looking for it. GH does manage to hit the Echo Slam there. Monkey King just dodges a lot of that damage by being able to turn into the tree, and will pop back now as his Viper sees him low. Is going to be able to get that kill. Matumba Man, oh, mind control. Tries to go off for the Doom. Not going to be able to get it off now. And now he's left in 1 versus 5 scenario. He throws out the Doom, yes, but surely you knew that wasn't going to result in a kill. All of Vici Gaming survive, and they wipe Liquid.
That was the buyback from Yang, but he'll survive no problem. That was well worth his time.
Absolutely.
They clean house right there as Liquid. They lose another fight, and this is the difference, let me say, between having a mid tower and not having a mid tower. It's just the awkward angle that you have to engage at. And you have to just hope there's no shrine up if you do take that fight. Whereas if Vici want to make the same move down towards the south side of the map on Liquid's camp, that triangle, it's a lot harder for Liquid to defend. It's just not as natural of a movement. You don't want to be there with multiple heroes. Vici feel like they can still protect that ancient camp, so they'll always be around there with at least some heroes, which is why Ori was in perfect position.
Yeah. Power of having that Medusa and being able to defend that mid tower.
And this is just a rough position for Liquid to be in when they last picked Dusa against the Viper mid. As
Miracle split outside of vision to be able to catch Miracle here. They can get multiple disables and just slowly whittle them down, but Liquid do have enough time to be able to mass rotate in. Kuro's going to be here first, trying to get some sort of save, some sort of aphotic shield. They need to be able to buy a little bit of time for Miracle to pop off his ultimate. He pops at the last second, is able to go for a fade here, but Ori's already marched forward onto Matumba Man, gets him as well as GH, and eventually Miracle's going to run out of time here as he hopes to get many bashes onto Paparazzi, but couldn't even kill DY. Only fade falls here for Vici Gaming. Triple kill for Ori. And potentially a tier 1 tower. This is turning into quite the snowball fest for Vici Gaming.
Yeah. You do see right there, though, how good the Troll ult can potentially look. It's just that Vici, without the BKB on the Troll, without the SNY, it's very easy for them to just kite him. And that was with a very good fissure from the Earthshaker, but Vici, I mean, they're protecting everything at this point. They're not ditching their supports. Paparazzi's doing a very good job with this Monkey King of being elusive, never letting himself get gone on.
And Yang's doing a great job of controlling some of these heroes, you know, throwing up the tornado onto the baton, multiple fights to make sure he can't stop these disables from Vici Gaming. And we're about to get a very big upgrade if Paparazzi can